No, God!
Make your dreams
No,
come
God,
true.
please, no!
Do it.
No!
Just
No!
do it.
No!
What's your take on this wide receiving core?
Oh, I think it's terrible. I think it's awful. I think it's absolutely horrendous.
Wait a second. There's a penalty on the play, and I'm like,
Get ready for 2 hours of hard-hitting football talk from two men in the know. It's Football on the Know with Jim and Joe.
Join us on the phone. We have NFL prospect and future XFL player Jeremiah Spicer.
I don't know, man. I don't like to talk about myself like that, man.
Yeah. I told him if the Raiders took in Oliver, I was going to take him in the bathroom. He won twice.
Dude, the last time I checked, I am God, so slow your roll. Slow your roll down.
Well, they say it's not the X's and the O's, it's the Jimmys and the Joes.
All right, what's going on, everybody? Welcome once again to another episode of Football on the Know. I am Jim McPhee, and alongside of me is Mr. Joe DeCapita.
welcome back, Know-It-Alls, for another edition of Football on the Know Show. We are ready to go. There's a lot of stuff going on. Trades. We got trades going on.
Oh, my goodness. Is
there's
it the trade deadline
injuries
already?
as
It's crazy.
usual. I mean, it's all over the place. And, we get into a little bit of a discussion on a lot of things here. You're more than welcome to join. Just hop right in. If you're new to the show, go ahead and just jump over to YouTube. If you're already on YouTube, hit the subscribe button to help us out, help us grow a little bit more. We much appreciate it.
And don't forget about you Periscopians out there. I keep calling them Periscopians
I
out there
like
on
it.
Twitter. So thank you for checking us out there. We're also on Facebook as well. So feel free to comment something troubling you about this past week. I know a lot of people are complaining about penalties again.
Penalties?
Penalties is the
Yes,
big
penalties.
deal.
Every single
Referees.
week.
Yep, and it's funny because the referees against the teams, the crowds, the fans.
Should just get
it's
a
not
shirt
just
that
the Saints
says
anymore, right?
referees versus the world at this point.
And you know what's funny is because I thought there was a lot of bad penalties for multiple games, but when I woke up Tuesday morning and to hear about how the Lions were screwed out of the Monday night game, and there were so many Lions supporters like feeling bad for this team all of a sudden, people out of the woodwork. It was all over the news, and I was like, what happened here? When did this, I mean, yeah, it was like any other game. Yes, they might have got a call that didn't go their way. Yeah, bad calls. But again, the way I look at it, Green Bay was still going to kick that field goal at the end and put pressure on Detroit to come back and score.
Right.
But you had to lead a commanding lead the whole game, and you squandered it
Yeah,
away.
most of
You
the game,
can't blame it all on just the referees, and you got screwed by them completely. You know?
And here's the problem with it is you can't let it get to that point. If you can help it, you can't let it get down to a referee's decision or a couple of penalties that were miscalled, that didn't go your way. And I understand, there's a huge uproar right now because of that Monday night game. Now, here's the thing. It's a nationally televised game. It's Monday night. It's prime time football. So you're going to see a lot of fans and a lot of media personnel and so-called experts all kind of just dive right in and point the finger and say, wow, the refs really blew this game. That's the whole reason why the Packers won. Same thing in the Steeler game. Anytime there's a primetime game, everybody is able to view that one game. So there's so much. It's almost like they're under a microscope under those primetime games. Everybody can see it. Everybody's going to watch it. I mean, football's the best American sport, and probably in my opinion, best around the world.
It's definitely ours.
But anyway, but that's why you see a big uproar on these primetime games more than any other game throughout Sunday. The 1 o'clock games, 4 o'clock games. There's always terrible penalties being thrown. There's also terrible no calls that happen in every single game. It just doesn't get as much notoriety because it's not the primetime game where everybody's just focused on that one game.
Oh yeah, I know, but it's just crazy too because I really like Matt Stafford and everything. And
we're big Matt
Lions,
Stafford supporters.
Yeah, definitely. And the Lions now, it's interesting with them now. They've had a lot of close games here to where they're like a Jekyll and Hyde kind of team here. We're not sure what to expect from this team because they're definitely good. They're playing better than I think a lot of people thought they would play. And potentially with some of these different games and miscues, they could have been, possibly undefeated at times here. Matt Patricia seems like they've got this team in order where they need to be.
Well, the biggest surprise for me would probably be defensive side. Matt Patricia and company have gotten this defense to kind of take another step forward, especially this season. There was a lot of questions, especially in the secondary, but they've managed to kind of mask those holes and those vulnerabilities, and kind of transformed them into strengths. And they've been a pleasant surprise on the defensive side of the ball. Offensively, we already knew what they have. I still think they need more firepower. Now, they are utilizing from time to time more of the rookie tight end in TJ Hawkinson, but I think they need to get him even more involved than what he already is. We saw in week 1 how he kind of blew up out of nowhere, and then since then has been below average at best in the partaking of this offensive playbook. I understand you like Kenny Galladay. There's a lot to like there. Deep threat, a guy that has a big body that can utilize it very well. Marvin Jones is kind of on the back burner now. He's not really the focal point like he once was last year, but I still think they need a little bit more weapons. Kerryon Johnson needs to get a little bit more involved in this offense. But all in all, the Detroit Lions have been a pleasant surprise.
Definitely. And one of the interesting games last Thursday night, we had the New York Giants face the Patriots, where it looked like it was going to be an absolute blowout possibly in this game to some people's standards.
Right.
It was a lot closer. Like you and I have said, it's going to be a closer game.
Yeah.
And the Patriots, we got to see them dealing with all these injuries that they have here on offensive line.
Right.
Tight end is a weak position. And these corners, for the first time, I thought, in this game, looked a little vulnerable.
Got exposed a little bit.
Yeah, with a team that said, this is possibly the best defensive
except for
team
Stephon Gilmore.
Yeah,
let's
that's
be
true.
honest.
That's true. He was
that
playing out of his
dude
mind.
is on a whole other level.
That is true.
He's a
and
great
they
corner.
didn't have Patrick Chung for
But
that
here's
game,
my pet peeve about the Patriots.
Sure.
They haven't faced anybody. They have one of the weakest schedules in the whole NFL. And every single year, it seems like they get off the hook of having a hard schedule to go through. For a team that's been winning multiple Super Bowls, has had great success throughout the league, year in and year out for the past 10 years, when does it get hard for them? When do they have to step their game up even more to try to even make it to the playoffs? It seems like they just get off scot-free year in and year out. They get an easy schedule here, easy schedule there. Oh, well, that's how it works out. Well, why is it that some of these other teams that have been struggling for so long and haven't had the success, they keep getting hard schedules? That's a question I like to bring up to the league. Like, what's going on with that? Like, how does that work out all the time? Works in the favor of the Patriots, but not so much the teams that are a little bit weaker, or a lot weaker for that matter.
Yeah, bounce it out within the division.
And the Patriots, they really haven't faced adversity until the Giants game, until the Bills game. The Bills are one of the best defenses in this league, and they got smacked in the mouth.
Yeah.
Let's be honest. We talked about it last week's show. If Josh Allen is healthy, if he doesn't get knocked out of the game, I think the Bills win that game over the Patriots, giving them their first loss and shocking everybody. But it wouldn't shock us because that was the first true test for the Patriots. Now, we fast forwarded to Thursday night's game against the Giants. Pleasantly surprising. The Giants really hung in there, especially in the beginning of the game. They pretty much locked down the Patriots' offense. They really gave them fits and stopped them on multiple occasions. And then offensively for the Giants, they just didn't have their weapons. That, to me, that game is completely different. If they have Evan Ingram, if they have Saquon Barkley, and they had Golden Tate, but let's face it, Bill Belichick's going to take that major threat away. He was the only one that they was worried about, and they had no Sterling Shepard. So if you even give them Evan Ingram and Barkley, I think the Giants end up surprising the hell out of everybody, us included, and beats the Patriots as well.
Well, they kept it close for a little while, and then again, once you wear them out and they're just tired enough of playing to try and keep it close, it wore down, and the Patriots end up getting like a 2 or 3 score lead anyways with that one. But again, the upcoming week, it's going to be pretty intense here. Now, a different story when the Patriots faced the Jets, who just came off of a win against the Dallas Cowboys again, where a lot of people really excited about the Dallas Cowboys, thought they were going to, some people said undefeated, but we
ran
didn't
away with the division and everything,
go with the division, go to the playoffs, and it was maybe a Super Bowl contender against the New England Patriots. And the past 2 weeks now, they've got smacked in the mouth a little bit here.
Last 3 weeks, they've lost 3 straight games.
And they could not come up with a win here. It got close. They end up getting to the game's almost tying score here, but could not convert on the 2-point conversion. And again, that within a game in that one where it was riddled with bad calls too as well, and flags all over, pass interference calls and stuff, to where now coaches, first of all, a lot of them aren't throwing flags anymore because it's not really changing the outcome, for one, so they feel like it doesn't even matter. And secondly, I think it's within the 2 minutes, so then I think it would still be that New York would have to throw something up, and New York has stuck by the referees as well here. So it's a weird kind of standoff, I think, going on
well,
with
New
these
York
referees
is part of the officials' headquarters. You know what I mean? So of course they're going to stick behind the referees that are on the field. However, the interesting thing is this is the second time the NFL has not stood behind the referees and basically came out in public and said, "Hey, you're right. They made terrible calls last week." That is unprecedented. Usually the NFL is always sticking by the officials, is always sticking by who they put out there on the field to judge a game. And another time the NFL's come out and said, nope, they're not. They're just not. They're not the. It's all screwed up. And that's really what it is. So, I just think that it's interesting to watch. Now, this going forward, how does this affect the officials and how they call games? Because we've seen the first time they didn't stand by the officials last year with that terrible non-call with the Saints and Rams game.
Right.
Now you fast forward to this season, you're noticing a huge uptick in flags, a huge uptick in penalties being called week in and week out. That's affecting the games a lot, and it seems like the officials are trying to make a statement saying, hey, you're not going to back us? Well, guess what? We're just going to throw flags and make the games miserable to watch.
Now, if you look at, I just want to focus on one game quick here. The Miami and Washington game, where it's not too exciting for a lot of people, is a battle of the Ophers. But
that was the battle of the first-round pick.
Yeah, and you know what's funny now? I was thinking about it as I'm looking at it again, because you and I were discussing it before the show started.
Right.
Miami goes for 2 there, goes for the win.
What are you doing?
Basically, wait, though. I just thought about it real quick. I'm like, is he coaching up saying, listen, we play to win, we don't play to tie and go in overtime? Was this another thing to where this is another satisfying way of tanking in a sense? We go for 2, we miss it, we lose again. We're that one more game up on the Washington Redskins and getting closer to the number 1 pick.
Terrible coaching decision. I mean, let's face it. If you listen, neither defense could stop each other.
Yeah.
So I mean, they both struggled. So, and we knew that was going to happen. We knew it was going to come down to who had the ball last type of deal, and they were going to win. The Dolphins, when they had the opportunity to kick the extra point, just kick the extra point and tie it up, going to overtime. Because here's the thing: it's all going to be precedented by the coin toss. Say the Dolphins end up winning the coin toss in overtime, they get the ball, they drive all the way down, score a touchdown, and then they trip up the Redskins just enough on offense, and that's it, game over. They could have won the game by extending it a little farther. I know it's kind of you're still rolling the dice, but man, I just think it was a poor coaching decision. Now you bring up, was it a decision based on, well, if we go for 2 and call the worst play possible in our playbook, we could lose this game and still be ahead of the Redskins.
And it looked like we didn't,
It was the play that they picked was absolutely terrible.
Yeah.
From the start, it didn't look like it was going to work. When you look at the Redskins defense now, they have a great D-line. I mean, there's no question. Their D-line is really good, and they pursue the ball really, really well. When you're crowded up, you had everybody crowded up at the goal line. First of all, that should have been a no-no. And you're trying to throw a screen to Kenyon Drake behind 2 receivers to block for him. When you have a linebacker out there waiting for you, you have a corner, you got the safety that kind of walked right up to the line. There's too much there. Audible. Call something different. Go call a timeout. Get out of there if they had timeouts. I don't even know if they did or not. But kick the extra point and just try to win it, later on.
Especially a play that
just didn't make
doesn't
any
even
sense.
leave you in the end zone. You have to get to it. Why would you do that? If you're going for 2, you definitely have to be there. There is no work your way into it like on a screen.
What they should have done is they should have spread everybody out, like 5 wide, like just to spread the defense out. And then it's your O-line versus their D-line, which is an uphill battle alone. But if Ryan Fitzpatrick just can't find someone on a slant or a drag route or a crossing route or anything like that, then he could just take off and run it, find a spot and run to try to get the 2. But it was the worst play I've ever seen to try to get a 2-point conversion. I don't know what they were thinking, and I don't even know if there was anybody watching the game because it was that bad.
Mm-hmm. And another game where it came down to the last score here, Atlanta and Arizona, where we said this could possibly be the game that Arizona or that Atlanta needed. Bounce back, set yourself
Wake
right, and like another like you said before about this past game, the defenses, there wasn't any defense at all between these. The two offenses are going at it here, and Atlanta gets in the end zone late to win or tie it, and a missed extra point by Matt Bryant. Like how
he
often,
was devastated.
Yeah,
too.
because he
Absolutely
never really misses
devastated.
like that. And
that poor guy has never missed anything in his life, and for him to not miss a field goal, but to maybe tie it, or it's an extra point. It's so close. It is almost difficult to miss it. And for a guy who's had such a long-standing career, has been, top-notch professional, he shows up on game time. For him to miss that extra point, he was absolutely devastated. As soon as he kicked it, you saw him rip his helmet off, put his head between his knees, and he just sat there. He just couldn't believe that he missed it. It was absolutely terrible for him, for the Atlanta Falcons. And this is a game that the Falcons should have had. You look at this offense, there's no excuse why they couldn't expose the Cardinals even further. Like, yes, they put up 30-plus points. They did kind of expose the defense. However, I just don't understand how every time they had the ball, they couldn't just score another touchdown. Julio Jones, Calvin Ridley, Mohamed Sanu, Austin Hooper had another big day.
yeah,
Devontae Freeman, using him in the passing game and running game. I don't get it. All I say is that's probably one of the most disappointing teams now, I have to say. Like, I know last week we talked about it, who's the most disappointing team, and Falcons were on that ballot. But now after seeing the implosion of this team, they are in dire straits right now. And I'm sorry, but Dan Quinn at head coach, he has to go. Now's the time. He was brought in to shore up this defense, and with the talent that he has at his disposal, this team should have been better, at least in the middle somewhere. Ranked. Their defensive rank should be somewhere in the middle. Like, there's no improvement at whatsoever. And it's on him. He's had plenty enough time to get the guys that he wanted, to fit the scheme that he wanted, everybody learn it. Now we're seeing, and to make matters worse, we look at last season. He didn't even call the defensive plays.
yeah.
This season, he took the playbook on himself. Now, there's no. I'm sorry, Dan. You got to be gone, buddy, because now you're taking the playbook, and the defense plays worse than last year? Wow. And, this goes to what you were saying. Before the show even, we talked a little bit about this before, and you said, what if the Falcons, when they had Kyle Shanahan, what if they made him an offer he couldn't refuse? Kind of like Josh McDaniels with the Patriots, how maybe, we don't know for sure, but maybe the reason why he didn't leave the Patriots and take that head coaching job with the Colts is maybe Robert Kraft pulled him aside in his office and said, hey, listen, when and if Bill Belichick retires or moves on or whatever, or we move on from him, whatever the case may be, you could be right in line, and we'll have you as our head coach. Why didn't the Falcons try to lure Kyle Shanahan and say, hey, listen, pretty soon, we're going to see how it goes next season or whatever with Dan Quinn. If the defense doesn't get any better, if our team doesn't get any better, we're thinking about having you be our head coach. Why couldn't they kind of lure him in? And if that wasn't enough to satisfy him to stay, you just kick Dan Quinn out of the head coaching spot and give it to Kyle Shanahan, because Kyle Shanahan was running one of the most explosive offenses to stop. It was hard to stop them. And just to let him slip away, and now he's with the Niners. Look what the Niners are doing. And he's working that offense with less compared to what Atlanta has on their roster. It's ridiculous.
Oh, yeah,
you look at what the Niners have. Yeah, they got good running backs and stuff, but now they don't have a left tackle. They don't have a right tackle. They got Marquise Goodwin, who's in and out of the lineup, not doing very well. Dante Pettis is a sometimes he shows up and other times he disappears. He's still making it work.
Right.
So, I mean, wow. I think Atlanta kind of really missed an opportunity
exactly.
there.
That's what I
You're
thought about
absolutely
it.
right about that.
Yeah. So you never know. I mean, that could have been a game changer for them. And now they're, with dire straits here and bringing back Dirk Cutter. And like you said, Dan Quinn now in charge of the defense. Now you have to point fingers there. And I think some of the Atlanta fans have been doing it already. And you brought up the 49ers here where was the test here, I think, for a lot of people here. The 49ers needed to face the Los Angeles Rams.
Yep.
Rams have been a little bit on a skid here. This was going to be a good matchup here. And once again, the 49ers, I doubted them. I went with the Rams because they're at home. Plus, again, the talent that they have. Right. We talked about the offense, at least the receivers not being part of the offense. We want to see a little more of Jimmy G instead of just hand it off so much and rely on that running game. What would happen if you got Aaron Donald involved and stopped some of that? But the 49ers, lo and behold, they do it again, and they are still undefeated along with the Patriots and one of the strongest teams here in the NFL. So it's tough. They're in the conversation with it. And like I said, with the success that they've had here with finally having their quarterback, last year they didn't because Jimmy G went down early. So he had to mix and match and do what he could. Yeah. But Kyle Shanahan looks successful again with another team, and the Atlanta Falcons might have just 100%. Let one slip right out of their way. And then another good matchup here that was a real close game right to the end. Let's look at Minnesota and Philadelphia. Now, back-to-back weeks, Case Keenum lets it fly out there, and now this time, he was hungry. He wanted out. He got fined for not showing up, $200,000. Stephon Diggs has a big day with like 3 touchdowns or so, 100-something yards, and he's
4
smiling
touchdowns.
Back in 4 touchdowns.
He went off.
Yeah, he did. He was
and
just
if you
open all
have
day.
him in fantasy, congratulations, because finally you got to see some of you finally reaped some of the rewards in fantasy with Diggs. He just went absolutely insane, scoring over 40 points in fantasy. It was absolutely crazy. Probably won you the game by himself.
Absolutely. And then one other game I just want to touch on quick before we get into our next segment is the Houston Texans. There we go. I don't know why I had different teams running through my head.
You were probably thinking about the Houston Astros.
I wanted
because
to. I think because
Yankees are playing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's what threw me off. So the Texans go into Kansas City, where we went with just or you went with Kansas City. I picked Houston on this one because, again, that defense of Kansas City is a little suspect. It's been in trouble. People are even saying, not to blow it up here, but they should have went and traded for a corner here and there to try and get somebody.
What are they
Who
going to
knows?
trade?
But, yeah, I know. They didn't have it. They don't have the liquidity to do it. But yeah, Houston goes in there, a hard-fought game here against Kansas City, and this is where I think defense made a difference. Because what does Kansas City have to do? Because of that defense, they have to go blow for blow. Offense got to keep pushing.
Yeah.
Bam, bam, bam. And then finally when Houston was able to hold and Deshaun Watson bring it in there and get the score, it wasn't enough for Patrick Mahomes and the boys to get it done. Even though they had Tyreek Hill there, they just couldn't get it done there. And Houston now shows what kind of a powerhouse they could be in their division too.
Yeah, and here's the thing is I take it like a grain of salt with Houston, though, because even though the Kansas City Chiefs, everyone's kind of like raving about the Chiefs. Oh, my God, they're a superpower. They're going to make it to the playoffs.
They're automatically putting them at 2.
Yeah, they're putting them on a pedestal already. And I understand it's much of the reason because of Patrick Mahomes' success last year. And don't get me wrong, he is a very, very good quarterback. I hate him because my Raiders got to face him. But this offense is dynamic. They do have a very good offense, especially when they're healthy. Now, here's the thing, too. They're not healthy. Hill came back this week, but Watkins still isn't there. So until they get Sammy Watkins, it really kind of opens up their playbook and their attack that they're allowed to do. But defensively, that's where they are weak. And we've seen their defensive line is pretty stout. But beyond that, that's where you start to see weaknesses. And Houston preyed on that. They attacked on that. But because Houston faced a kind of weak defense in my mind, I didn't really see a lot from their. They didn't get contested. In other words, so I'm very high on the Houston Texans. I do love their team, but if people are using this as a
litmus test,
as a test to see like, wow, Houston's really legit now. I think they got to wait until they face a little bit harder competition.
It's tough. Well, I think a lot of the teams this season have been like that. It's been so up and down, and teams where it could beat a tough guy and then all of a sudden lose to a lesser opponent, you would say, and then that team go on and win. The strange thing here, the Denver Broncos pull off 2 wins in a row, minus Bradley Chubb, and
Yeah,
you know,
go figure.
So I mean, so what's going on with that altogether? But so yeah, don't forget, just follow us on Facebook, join
YouTube.
our group
On YouTube.
hit the subscribe button. If you guys are watching on Facebook, go ahead, go onto YouTube, hit the subscribe button, watch us there as well, so you don't have to just sit there and peruse Facebook and watch it through that little screen and stuff. So hit us there, and Periscope too, Twitter. People that are following us on Twitter, we appreciate you as well. And I want to say just a congratulations to Jeremiah Spicer. He ended up getting drafted into the XFL.
Yeah, one of our very
friends.
own know-it-alls.
Yep,
You know,
I posted
Jeremiah
it to our group.
Spicer, congratulations, buddy, on a job well done. Keep working hard. I know he will. Don't even have to tell him. I know he's a very hard worker, but keep grinding, keep doing what you're doing, and can't wait to see you move up the charts, buddy.
We wanted him to go to New York, but he
Yeah.
ended up getting drafted into the Los Angeles Wildcats.
I wish,
think
you know,
he gets to
yeah.
stay home at least.
You know, there's something that has to be said about the head coach there, Winston Moss. He was an ex-linebacker. I think he had something to do with it. But like, hey, there's a linebacker I'd like to have on my team. I'm an ex-linebacker. Relationship probably was there, and he decided to bring in Jeremiah Spicer. But yeah, we were a little biased. We wanted him to go to New York so then we could support him and watch him in New York. But unfortunately, he's still on the West Coast, so that kind of sucks. But
All right.
nonetheless, congratulations.
All right, that brings us to our next segment here. We're going to do a little sink or swim, Joe. All right, that's right. Sink or swim. All right, what we're going to do is I'm going to bring up a couple teams as we go.
Go for
here.
it.
Yep, and
What we got?
go ahead, hit us up with some music here.
you want
Here we
some
go.
music
Yeah,
now?
I want some music. I feel the vibes here. There we go. Ooh, we got the marching going. Okay.
Let's go.
All right, sink or swim.
we
We're going
got?
to talk about the Los Angeles Chargers first here, Joe. This is a team where last year they made it to like the almost AFC Championship game, like the divisional, I think it was.
Yes.
And ended up getting blown up by the Patriots. But they were a team where I thought they could bounce back as long as they were healthy, make a run here. They end up getting hit with the injury bug early. Derwin
Always.
James goes down.
Always.
Yes, they're struggling. They had needed to. Now they lost their center. They needed Dan Feeney to play center in the last game.
Yeah.
And against a third string quarterback in the Pittsburgh Steelers here, it was a debacle right from the start, and the defense from the Pittsburgh Steelers just showed off all together against this team, and they just faltered and crumbled at every position possible here. So I'm really afraid about this team, Joe. Now, what do you think about the Los Angeles Chargers? Are they going to continue to sink here, or do you think they might be able to swim and tread water and get things done?
And that's the biggest problem, is that injuries. I mean, basically that's what it's coming down to. I know no one wants to use that as an excuse, and I'm not trying to use that excuse, but it is what it is. The lesser talent on the field, lesser chance to win the game. So we're starting to notice a deterioration on their offensive line, which is not holding up very well for Phillip Rivers for protection. Melvin Gordon's return has not improved this offense whatsoever. Struggled to run the football with him and Austin Eckler. Now, I know it's hard to get in rhythm as a running back if you're you're on limited touches, you're not the go-to guy. So I think Eckler and Gordon have been affected by that, and it's showing on the football field. Listen, Eckler had a few catches, Gordon had a few catches. It wasn't enough. They couldn't generate any offense because teams weren't scared of it. They were stuffing the run. They weren't allowing them to run. They made the Chargers one-dimensional, and that's what I worry about going forward. They have Mike Williams healthy. They have Keenan Allen healthy. They have Hunter Henry healthy, who was a big part this past week.
He was.
But it wasn't enough.
Yep.
I mean, when they are going to face tougher defenses, this is a struggle they're going to have to go through. And also, when you look on the defensive side, they're banged up there too. They do not have Melvin Ingram right now, so they're missing one of their best defensive linemen opposite Joey Bosa,
Right.
which is in turn leading teams to just double team
Yeah,
Bosa,
they just
taking
took out
care of
Bosa.
him. So. And the injuries in the back end, their safeties have been knocked. Their one safety has been knocked out for the whole year, so they're missing a starter there. Casey Hayward's trying to hold down the fort on one side of the football, or one side of the field, and there's too much bad stuff happening around the Chargers. For me, if I have to call it sink or swim, it's still early in the season where they are going to get Melvin Ingram back. They are going to get that team player. Plus, you got to remember, Derwin James is going to be coming back soon too, so that could really help turn this defense around. I still think they're going to be able to come back. It's still early. I got to have them as a swim. They're going
Right.
to stay above water.
Yeah, I mean, it's tough. When a tough division here, with the Raiders surging now coming up here.
Yeah,
against
that's the thing, too, is like it just kind of popped in my head. They are going to get Derwin James back. That's going to be a huge addition. Ingram comes back. That really transforms this defense and makes it tough once again.
Yeah, and something to look forward to this week to see what's going to happen when they face off against the Tennessee Titans now with Ryan Tannehill now here at the helm, and we'll see what happens when they could face them. All right, so let's move on to the Chicago Bears now, Joe. The Chicago Bears. All right. Again, they've had a bit of the injury bug here too as well. Akeem Hicks now is out. I mean, that's a big part of that
That's a
defense.
huge
And you
loss.
saw it in that London game against the Raiders and what
loss.
happened. He's not there, and they were able to contain Khalil Mack. And now with Mitch Trubisky, even if he is healthy here, hasn't been playing too well at times here for the team. And that's where the
Yeah, he
big
struggled.
question has been for the Chicago Bears now. Is this offense going to finally kick it up? Because we're getting closer to, it's week 7 here. We're near, half
Midway
the end
point.
of the season. So
Yeah.
you got to start to figure it out. And this defense got, stuff a little bit last week, or 2 weeks ago. So, I mean, we'll see what happens with the Bears. Now, you think they're going to they're hit the emergency button right now here in this tough division to where the Vikings are surging now, and then you've got the Green Bay Packers who are exciting.
Yeah.
Or are they going to be able to tread water here and swim?
This is tough because here you have the tale of two parts of this team. Is you got offensively not very good this year. Even with Mitchell Trubisky, Mitchell Trubisky's been struggling as of late. He's coming back off an injury. I don't know. Is he going to be able to kick it into high gear and all of a sudden turn this offense around? We've seen in the beginning of the season he hasn't been able to deliver. Has had some miscues offensively with some of his wide receivers. The plays haven't been working out too well. They haven't been executed that great. And this offensive line is taking a hit now. Now you are missing Kyle Long now, what looks to be for the season. That's a big part of your offensive line now gone. They're taking the punches and not doing too well with them. And defensively, teams are going to look at that Raider game. I understand it does come down to talent. The Raiders' offensive line has kind of proven that they are one of the better offensive lines yet again. And John Gruden game planned magnificently against the Bears' defense. Now, with that stellar cast that they have on defense, they were able to not only just eliminate Khalil Mack, but eliminate pretty much every other pass rusher, pressure type player. Roquan Smith was neutralized as well. It was pretty impressive what they were able to do. Teams are going to try to mimic that now that they've kind of got a game plan that they can see on the film. But all in all, I think that the Bears' offense is still going to struggle, and I think it's really going to come down just to their defense. Can their defense bail them out long enough for the offense to kind of put up points? And I don't see the same Bears team as last year. So for me, I got them sinking actually. I don't like where the offense is headed. And if you don't have offense and you can't put up points, it don't matter how great of a defense you have, you're going to struggle along the way.
Yeah, I mean, I can see that too as well. And like you said, also they need to bounce back within this division because that's where it's going to matter if they make the playoffs or not here. Wins within the division because right now they've lost to Green Bay. And I don't know if they've lost to the Vikings yet, but it's going to be close with the way Detroit is playing and everything, all those guys. So that's going to matter. So like you said, I think I'm going to go with Sink as well because already you're behind the 8 ball. And if you lose to the Green Bay, that's already the decider for the division instantly right now.
Yeah,
so.
and it's tough to gather right now. It is early, but, I mean, I just don't like where the offense is headed.
Yeah. So, all right, moving on. Next, we have up the America's team, the Dallas Cowboys here. All right, again, where a lot of people were high on the Cowboys and, maybe a contender here.
Yeah, they
even
were all
because
over 'em.
analytics had said that, by analytics standards, the Cowboys give the best opportunity or chance to be the NFC opponent against the AFC team, possibly the Patriots. This is what we'd be looking at. And the first couple games, Dak Prescott, again, high QBR.
He's
high
amazing.
completions and stuff. But again, you got to bring up that question that's popped up a lot with a lot of teams this year.
Right.
Who have they played? Again, you
Right.
beat the Giants, who were trying to figure out their
They were
identity.
they were in
starting
disarray
rookies.
early on.
Yes, didn't have a mobile quarterback.
Right.
They had Eli Manning before, so
But
now
you know
they have
what's-
Daniel Jones.
I'm
who can
sorry
get out.
to cut
Sure.
you off right here, but I just wanted to say this. But you know what's promising for the Giants is their defense looks like every single week they're getting a little bit better.
Yeah.
So-
and they're disguising it, I think, in doing different things. I see a lot more of using all those corners, not only just
Right.
saying
Right.
we'll put this guy in and out.
Yep.
They're doing like 2 to 3 safeties now. You know what I mean? All mixed and matched.
Gotta
Not
change
just,
it up.
especially because you're down some linebackers there. So running that 3-4 isn't always going to work if you don't have the linebackers to pull it off.
Right.
So mixing in 5-6 DBs in there has been able to make it work here and keep up with some of these other wide receivers on them to get the speed going.
Definitely.
Not so many mismatches. But the Dallas Cowboys now not looking so good against tough competition. They lose a close one in New Orleans with the Saints, and now they lose to the New York Jets, who haven't mustered up a win.
The
Sam
Jets
Darnold
woke up.
hasn't played in 3 weeks or so or 4 because of mono. And again, it looked like at times where LaDainian Tomlinson, whatchamacallit? No, the running back for the Jets.
Oh, you mean
Le'Veon
Mr.
Bell.
Le'Veon Bell.
See, I'm good. Le'Veon Bell was getting frustrated because it seemed like he was the only weapon that they're
Doing
trying
anything.
to use,
He was the only
and
one
he
doing
couldn't.
anything.
Yeah, he seemed like he was carrying it all on his own shoulders. Couldn't get it going.
Yeah.
We've asked for him week by week to finally get the field stretched out, get Robbie Anderson out there, because one thing he does have is that big play explosibility there for them. Once you know it, they did it right away against the Dallas Cowboys, and so they are kind of on my sink or swim list here because it's tough now. They've lost consecutive now.
Right.
Now to where they're tied with the Eagles, and the Giants are 2-3. Was only a half a game or a game off, and I don't think the Redskins are still going to be able to make a difference here. But they are going to be key parts though in this whole play as it plays out because they do have to face the Redskins again. All these teams, so how they compete against that team could decide this division.
Yeah,
So-
I mean, you look at the Dallas Cowboys right now, and to quickly to add to this is last week when they faced the Jets, Amari Cooper left the game due to injury, so that to me was a big issue for the Cowboys offense. Now, Ezekiel Elliott, he did his thing, he ran, and they relied heavily on him, but what I've noticed is the Dallas Cowboys are kind of similar to the Carolina Panthers right now. And I've already made the comparison like Dak Prescott is similar to Cam Newton. And it seems like the offense is as well because they are another team offensively that loves to pound the rock, run the football a lot, throw when they need to throw, use the play action. They can utilize Dak Prescott's mobility like they did to attempt to tie it up towards the end of that game. And to me, I've seen way too many similarities where they start to if they get down at all, if they start to, and they have to throw the ball to get back into the game, that's where Dak is going to struggle because all the pressure's on him. We've noticed that the past 3 weeks, they have lost. They were started hot. They were 3-0. They were on fire. Everyone's like, oh, we called it. Last 3 weeks aren't so good right now, are they? They're 3-3. They're 500. And the Jets, of all the teams, one of the teams that have been struggling one of the most, trying to find an identity on offense, trying to figure out something to get the points on the board. They got a solid defense, and that defense is healthier now. They're getting back those players that were hurt before, and they made a statement against the Cowboys. Did not allow Zeke to kind of like blow up. He still had a good game, but didn't take over the game. And they just limited Dak Prescott and company. Kudos to the Jets. Got to give it up to them. They were able to utilize the passing game, and not just to Robbie Anderson, but also to Jameson Crowder. They mixed it up along the way. So the Cowboys, to me, when you face the Jets, that should be a win. Granted, I do think the Jets are tough defensively, but
The way that
all you had to
offensive
do,
line has been, you figured with the talent that they have on defense.
They have no tackles. The Jets don't have good tackles. So I thought the Cowboys defense coming in, we're going to be like in the backfield all the time. All they had to do, game plan, stop Le'Veon Bell and make Darnold pass and just play your own defense. Didn't work. They just couldn't figure it out. So Cowboys I'm a little concerned with right now. So, I mean, with a tough division that they're in, they're not showing really the promise that they were the first 3 weeks. It looks like they're struggling. They're in a little bit of a downward spiral. Their defense is still good, even though they're kind of getting nicked up. The offensive line is a
they're
little
banged up
concerning.
bit.
So, yeah, I'm going to say sink.
Yeah.
I'm not as high on the Cowboys even before the season started. I thought if teams game planned well enough, like the Jets did this week, you can beat the Cowboys. So I don't like the way the Cowboys are handling the adversity, and I just don't see it getting that much better for them.
Yeah, I can see their struggles here. I think it all depends on Tyron Smith. Is he available? Is he able to get healthy here and come back? Because you see the difference when he's not there and they're not able to run the ball and even get that little bit of a pass protection.
Yeah.
And also, I mean, it is going to be tough for them because they do have to face the Philadelphia Eagles this week. So, again, they're tied for the division. So, again, where these interdivisional teams or games matter here, wins against each other, it's going to make the difference. That's where it's going to shuffle.
Definitely.
I'm still going to stick with swim with the Cowboys. They are the team that I picked to win this division. And like I said, it's their division to lose. And I just
They're
hope
doing a
they
good
don't.
job of
They're
that
good.
right
They're
now.
trying. They're trying. It's going to be tough because I wasn't that high on Philadelphia. And rightfully so, even with some of the drops they've had. They were like third, I think, leading the NFL third in drops altogether. Some of these wide receivers not helping out Carson Wentz at all here. So I'm going to still ride with swim with the Dallas Cowboys. But who knows? We still got a few weeks to go, and they have to face Philadelphia this week. So moving on to another team that's in a sink or swim here, its position, I think, is the Los Angeles Rams. They were another team where you got to expect that they could maybe bounce back this year. They were in the Super Bowl. They got a little bit embarrassed by Bill Belichick. I think Sean McVay was in awe of Belichick.
They were in it in the beginning. Like, I just don't
it was
get
a defensive game for a long time, and he just get out coached. But now where you thought maybe they're going to they re-upped even some more players, got even tougher here on defense, and they signed Goff to a bigger deal. Everything's locked in. Look good. Todd Gurley's running nice, and they just the last couple of weeks have faltered to some of these teams in games where they should have won. I can expect last week, yes, the 49ers are a tough team. They are playing very tough. That defense is stellar, but some of these games they let slip, and they could come back and bite them in the rear at the end of this. Now, what do you think was up with the Rams here, especially with all the news going on, making the big blockbuster trade here? Let us know about that.
Oh, my God. They gave up way too much.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. When you're giving up two, not one, but two first-round picks and a fourth-round pick to get one player, that's three players that you could have had in the draft. I mean, potentially they all could have been superstars. You never know. But now this means by trading those two first-rounders, now it means that the Rams do not have a first-round pick in the next 5 drafts.
Yeah.
After all the trades that they've done and everything, now it's kind of catching up to them. They're not going to get those first-round stellar type of value draft picks. They're going to be missing out on a lot of talent, and they would have needed it to sustain this team for the future. Now they're not going to have that. So somehow, some way, they got it. Maybe they try to get in the lower portion of first rounds or something somehow. But you look at this team now. Now it seems like they're cashing in, and they want to win now. They're in win now
they've
mode.
got their chips right in the center of the table. Seems
because
like
now pulling off this trade for Jalen Ramsey, bringing him over. They moved on from Marcus Peters. They send him to Baltimore for a linebacker. Now that's a need. They did need linebacking help, so they get Kenny Young from the Baltimore Ravens, which is going to help them in the middle, and they also pull off that trade for Jalen Ramsey. Now, I'm sorry, but that's a lot to give up for Jalen Ramsey.
It is.
For a guy who claims himself as the number one best corner in football, statistically, bro, you're really not. And by making that trade, that huge investment, they also got to pay this guy. In 2 years' time, they're going to have to pay this guy the most wealthiest corner in football history.
That's the thing too. Money-wise,
are they going to be able to even afford him? Because after giving a huge amount of money to Aaron Donald, a big-time extension to Jared Goff, you got to wonder. You also got these other guys that are going to be coming up. Cooper Kupp is going to need after his rookie deal's done. He's going to need to be paid. Robert Woods. Do you want him to stay or not? Brandon Cooks, do you want him to stay or not? So a lot of these
bands got to stick together.
A lot of these big names, and Todd Gurley got paid big money too. Yeah. He's making on average around $14 million, just below $14 million a year. So if you're going to pay these guys, don't you have to use them too? Like Todd Gurley doesn't hardly get used. He was out this past week, which I think hindered their offense. As much as they're not using him fully, I think you just got to unleash the beast a little bit here.
Yeah.
I mean, when he comes back healthy, get him rolling because he's a big difference maker in that backfield.
Absolutely here.
What
We
we
have
got?
Mike Tackett joining in here, ringing the doorbell. He's here.
What's going on, Mike?
Yes, one of our big know-it-alls. He says, happy Wednesday, guys. We're halfway to November already. I think
Right.
the Rams are do or die after giving up
Absolutely.
2 first-round picks, a 4th-rounder, and trading away Marcus Peters. I feel Jacksonville won that trade.
Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely.
I
Here.
completely agree because why? Because, listen, Jacksonville Jaguars were in dire straits in terms of cap. So by next year, they were over the cap by $14 million. Now, by dishing Ramsey, they don't even have to worry about paying him big dollars. They're going to kind of, that salary is going to go, whoop, bye-bye.
I think it was a decent trade on the Baltimore's end, too, as well.
Yeah, because they're getting another corner opposite Marlon Humphrey, who's a physical corner. I think that's going to play off really well. Marcus Peters, to me, fits that defense really, really perfectly. So I think it's a good trade for both teams. That Baltimore trade and Rams trade, they get a linebacker to help out, and they gave up a ton of compensation. Now you watch out because Jacksonville is not a bad team.
Yeah.
You know, they just collecting all those picks now. Watch out, see what they can do in the draft coming up. But going back to the Rams, not another note to mention too is, I was worried that Aqib Talib might be done for the year.
Yeah.
But he is coming back. He is eligible to come back. Now, when he comes back, I know it's going to be several weeks, which you kind of need him there. But when you got Ramsey and you have Talib to really kind of run this defense, it's really going to help out. And Peters, I know he was kind of falling out of favor with the Rams. Maybe he didn't fit into the defensive scheme the way they wanted him to, and they decided to move on. But sink or swim, Rams, I do like their offense. They got plenty of weapons. Their offensive line kind of got a little bit of an upgrade. They did lose, I think it's Jeremy Noteboom, one of their guards or centers, and they traded with the Browns.
Yes.
Now this is funny.
Yeah.
The Browns actually gave up offensive line talent, which they desperately need to hold on to.
Yeah.
But they traded their center, a young center in Austin Corbett. Now he goes to the Rams to take over the center spot, or maybe even he could possibly play guard. So the Rams are they pulled off a couple of trades, and I think they're all in, just like you were saying. Like, they have to win now, and they have to make a push to get back in the Super Bowl, and they're trying to do everything.
Yeah, and just like Mike Tackett here, it's do or die. So you think they're swimming here, or you think they might sink on this? So this is it. It's basically sink or swim on them right now.
Here's the thing: is if Sean McVay gets back to running the offense the way they need to run it, now they're a running team. Start running the football. Stop trying to make Jared Goff throw 500-plus yards a game.
Yeah.
So if they can get Todd Gurley healthy and make it and utilize him like you did in years past, I'm with Swim on this one. I think they can come back, not necessarily win the division, I don't think, but I think they could come back and at least contend to get into the wild card, perhaps.
Yeah, in another tough division here where they've got the Seattle Seahawks and the 49ers. I mean, 49ers look really good. It's tough for me for this on this one. They're tough, but again, and that's the thing with this team. You have so much talent there. It's like your head scratcher with the Atlanta Falcons at times. But this team has a much better defense than the Falcons, so that's why you're just questioning some of it. I'm going to go with Swim as well for here because they can't, sink so bad with this. But again, just like the last division we talked about, really tight. So
tough.
So
Very tough.
wild card spots are going to be tough this year. I think in the NFC, it's going to be do or die.
Rams
for
have to
a
beat the
lot
Niners
of
next time they
teams.
meet them.
Yeah, absolutely. You have to get those wins within the division that we've talked about. All right, and that moves us on to our last team in the sink or swim we're doing here, and it is the Cleveland Browns. We just brought them up. Again, a team that is like a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde team to me. You see all the talent on the paper. Garrett's still looking great on defense, and altogether, it should be a good, altogether well-run team, but they're just up and down. Baker Mayfield looks, it's questionable at times, making bad decisions.
Right.
But again, that offensive line, like you said, they need help. But then to trade people away and to where you're hearing now that they might be in the market to make trades this week.
I don't know how.
Yeah. Like, what are you going to do? What are you going to get away?
You
Like I
already-
said,
they
you're going
already
to get
gave up
rid
a
of Odell
first-round
now?
pick for OBJ.
Yeah.
So there goes the big type of value that you could possibly trade away. And, you know, you gave a first-round pick and other picks. I can't remember right off the top of my head what they gave up for OBJ, but it was Jabril Peppers was one of their young stud safeties they gave up, the first-round pick.
Yep.
I think a third or a fourth or something like that.
I think so. I think it was
and,
a third, too.
And on top of that, they're making trades right now, like Austin Corbett. We still don't know what they're getting back. It's an undisclosed pick, which could mean many things. It could mean as long as he passes the physical.
Yes.
And the trade goes through, maybe they get a 5th rounder. I don't know, maybe a 6th rounder, whatever the case may be. And then you just made your offensive line, which is the weakest part of your team, even weaker. I don't. What are you doing, John Dorsey? Come on, man, help me out. He did a great job of assembling the talent for this offense to really kind of skyrocket and take off. And the defense was already solid. Did a great job in the draft to kind of shore up that other corner spot with Greedy Williams.
Yeah.
And now it's like everyone's like, where's the Cleveland Browns team that we all were like excited to see? Well, the problem is their offensive line is terrible. It's worse than the Jets. It's absolutely insane. Now you just took your center and dished him away. You got Greg Robinson at tackle. You got a nobody at the right tackle spot. That's why you're seeing Baker Mayfield struggle. Is because last season he had good protection.
So many people in his face.
He had good protection. He was able to take his time, deliver the ball, an accurate ball, set his feet. Now he's almost like running for all over the place, trying to create some time, and he just can't do it. So
yeah, where they found that he had success was out of the pocket, bootlegging out, and here cutting the
And you
field in
have
half.
to.
Teams are containing, keeping him in that pocket, and he feels rushed. And even if he has to step up, he doesn't have a lot of running room, and that's where they're able to get him and get the sack fumbles on him, strip that ball out of there. He's not been able to hold on to the ball as well either in this season. So it's tough with this team. You know, again, it looked really good for him and promising, but they are on the sink or swim.
here's the thing:
Joe. What do you think
if
with this team?
John Dorsey needs to do something now for this offensive line, not trade away talent, but they need a tackle that can handle the edge. And to me, it makes all the sense in the world if they can figure out some kind of a trade, some kind of compensation to get Trent Williams from the Redskins.
They were looking at Trent Williams.
It makes it just makes perfect sense. It's if you want to save your season, you got to try to make that trade happen no matter what, and maybe even a couple of smaller moves to get another right tackle or something in here. We've seen what the Patriots did. Right. Now they picked apart from a couple other teams to bring in some depth at that offensive line. They knew they were going to be hampered by injuries. They bring in a couple of guys here and there, and they weren't terrible players. They were actual backups that could play. That's what the Browns need to do right now. They need to kind of search and scour, teams. And like another thing that comes to mind, like just because I know the Raiders so well, is that they have a kid by Denzel Good, is his name, plays guard. He's awesome. When he had to fill in for Richie Incognito, didn't give up any pressures, anything. That's a guy that maybe Cleveland should go and try to pick off a team. But they got a lot of work to do for the offensive line. If they don't do anything, I think it's a swim. If somehow Dorsey can turn this thing around, maybe get Trent Williams, maybe get a couple of other depth guys to come in and maybe try out for this team on offensive line, I think they could kind of salvage this season. But unless they shore up that offensive line, it's a no-go.
Yeah, here Mike Tackett says the Browns gave up a first, third, and Jabril Peppers for OBJ.
Third-round pick, man.
Yeah. I wonder why Washington is trying so desperately to keep Trent Williams. They're not going to get what he is worth, nor is helping them. Yeah.
And here's the problem with the Redskins is that they're just not willing to trade him right now. They just don't want to trade him. And it makes no sense because if Trent Williams has dug his heels in and said, no, I am not playing for you guys. No way. I'm not playing for you guys. You need to trade me, and if you don't trade me, I'm just going to sit the season out.
Yep.
So, and you're not going to get a ton in value.
You're not going to get guys just saying
you're not going to get a first-round pick.
So
you're
it's
just
not like they can like, hey.
Right. He's in his middle 30s. He's like 34, 35, 36, and yes, he's a Pro Bowl type of tackle, but when you get up to that age level, how much longer are you going to play? Is he going to play for 1 more year, 2 more years, maybe 3 more years?
Yeah.
Or retire now?
Yep.
No one knows. So Trent Williams is one of those guys where if the Redskins don't make an effort in trading him and don't come to the realization like, hey, he really isn't going to play for us, then I could see him kind of retiring
Yeah.
this season and saying, you know what, screw you guys, I'm retiring. I'll come back in a couple of years.
Yeah, something or whatever,
So-
I mean, but again, for them to not get the whatever compensation they
Just
can,
not getting it. And they could use it because look at that team. They need to rebuild.
Yeah, and if Cleveland could go for them, they don't have a lot to sacrifice. But again, it would be low at this point.
Right.
Now, for me,
Gotta
if
do
they
it.
want to try and make a surge, do they take some of this talent that they have and try to even throw some out there and try and get something back on the back end for some of these?
There has been a little sprinkle of rumors that the Browns could turn around and trade OBJ.
Yeah,
again.
imagine that.
I think if they were willing to, I think you're going to hear it from 30 NFL teams that all are interested.
Yep.
What do you want to offer us? And this is where the Cleveland Browns could really turn their season around. They could offer OBJ up, and it does make sense. I know that some Browns fans are like, "That's ridiculous."
And
yes,
keep him relevant for a few
he
years,
is
too.
a awesome receiver, no doubt. But that is your bargaining chip right now. Yes, I understand you pulled off the trade and you gave up what you gave up, but now you could utilize OBJ and say, "Hey, anyone want to give us a first rounder and maybe an offensive lineman or two?" So it's something to think about, and I think John Dorsey is thinking about it right now. What could he possibly get if he was to put OBJ on the trade block, to see what kind of offers he could get and what kind of compensation as well on top of it?
Yeah, because I think it worked out well for the Giants even when they did it. Because you got that first rounder. Now you looks like you do have your franchise quarterback. And with Jabril Peppers, he's basically your best defender right now.
Yeah.
He's playing better than anybody else on that
100%.
field right now for the Giants.
Yep.
So if they could do the same and turn it around, why not? Because again, I've always said and lived by it. Again, when was the star wide receiver really won you a Super Bowl? I mean, the Eagles had T.O. and they didn't win it there either.
Right.
I mean, if you have the talent, especially because you have these other players on that team.
They are minus David Njoku, which hurts.
Right, that
But-
it hurts a little bit still, but I mean, still, you have Nick Chubb back there, and then even
You got Jarvis Landry on that team still.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You have bits of pieces to move,
Rashard
and now,
Higgins.
and people will still pay high value, I think, for him. You
Yeah.
know, but again, if they want to try and work a deal with Trent Williams with the Redskins, they
Good.
cannot deal OBJ to the Redskins. Although I would like that. Like, it would be interesting to see what happens with that storyline.
It could happen.
But but you would think that the Redskins would have to give up their first rounder. Do you think the way they're playing this year that they're going to just get rid of that, which possibly could be a low first rounder right
that's
now?
gonna be.
That's a big gamble on
it's
the Redskins.
It's going to require a first rounder. It is. I mean, you look at what the Giants had to give up, or what the Browns had to give up to get OBJ in the first place. A first, a third, and not just any player, a starting caliber player. So that's three really big things they had to give up. Now, if you're the Redskins, yeah, you have to give up Trent Williams, which is an offensive lineman, which, I'm sorry, doesn't come anywhere in comparison to a stellar receiver. But also, you're going to have to give up maybe multiple picks. If you're not going to give up your first rounder, you're going to have to give up multiple picks besides that first rounder.
It's tough to even try to fathom where he might go if they did. Somebody wanted to pull off a trade here.
Everybody's talking
Everybody would be good.
Everybody's
That'd be
saying if they do deal OBJ, it would have to be either like Redskins. They're even talking about the Raiders. I don't understand that. I know the Raiders do need another receiver, but the Raiders would have to give up one of two first rounders, which they could,
Yeah.
and then figure out the rest
Do you
from
think
there.
Tom Coughlin would want him in Jacksonville? Do you think that relationship is still good there?
I honestly,
Because they could use somebody again.
here's the
just to
thing:
tear it
is
off.
there's a reason why Tom Coughlin got rid of Jalen Ramsey. He's another like head case like
Look at
Jalen
me
Ramsey.
guy.
He's a look at me, I'm the best. Watch out for me. So I don't think Coughlin would want to bring OBJ to Jacksonville because they are trying to still work with that younger receiving core. And they got a lot to like there. I mean, you look at Leonard Fournette playing great this season. The offensive line is doing very well there. They're still kind of figuring out a true identity. And what's interesting enough is as the trade deadline gets close, something has to happen with Nick Foles.
Yeah.
When Nick Foles comes back, and I think he's coming back soon, there's got to be a decision made. Are you sticking with Gardner Minshew at quarterback and maybe possibly talk about trading Foles yet again? I feel bad for that guy.
Yeah,
He just
yeah,
gets traded
but-
over it. Or do you make the decision and say, hey, we're going to stick with Nick Foles and maybe use Gardner Minshew as a bargaining chip because we've seen him, we have game tape on him, we've seen how well he's played decent from time to time and has done well enough to maybe they could cash in on a guy who no one saw as being a starter. Now he could be a starter, like the Patriots have done with Jacoby Brissett.
Yeah, it's pretty interesting there because they could go either way, but who knows? Yeah, if they believe in what he's done so far and they're rolling with it,
yeah, you got to stick with him,
they
right?
are sitting there with Nick Foles in their back pocket, which has worked out for Philadelphia. And it's good to have. I mean, a Super Bowl winning,
it is,
quarterback. Anybody would take that right now, and so
I'm
it'd
not
be interesting
sure
there.
Foles would like that very much.
Yeah, no, I don't think so either. But all right. So the Cleveland Browns, are you sinking them or are you swimming them here? I'm saying
I already
that they're
said
sinking.
that
I'm going to go with
if
sinking.
John Dorsey doesn't do anything to fix that offensive line, they are sinking.
Mm-hmm.
If they are able to get a couple pieces before the trade deadline or even free agency, if there's something out there that they could even bring an older vet back, if they can upgrade that offensive line, I say swim. If they don't do anything, it's got to be a sink.
Mm-hmm. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. Tell us what you think. What do you think about these teams? Are you sinking them? You swimming them? What you doing here? But there you go. That was one of our newer segments that we call Sink or Swim. Yes, that's right. So we'll see what's going on next couple of weeks. Trade deadline is showing up soon, Joe. That's right. That's right. It's getting here. So we'll have other people on to talk about that when the trades upcoming, and we'll see when halfway point of the season rolls around what we're looking at here, because we're going to have a lot of these teams fight through adversity and see who comes out of the muck out of all this thing and trying to explain what's going on here in the NFL.
Right.
All right. So and then that brings us to our next segment here that we call the In the Know Fact of the Day. That's right. All right, here we go. This is an interesting fact I found here.
What do we got?
Yeah, we were talking about the Patriots and stuff and how maybe the toughest team to face them might have been the Bills and things and stuff in that division. So I found this out that right after the AFL-NFL merger here, after suffering through 10 consecutive losses to open the 1971 season, the Buffalo Bills finally recorded their first and only win of the year with a 27-20 victory over the New England Patriots. Coach Harvey Johnson, who would only spend that one season with the team, even tried to play the team's best player, O.J. Simpson, at wide receiver. And Buffalo averaged only 13 points per game while giving up 28 points per game. Just could not generate the offense there. So that is our in the know fact. Oops, I just did that by accident.
Oh, I think
My
it's
bad.
terrible.
Sorry. Went right to hit the wrong thing. All right. So, yeah, that's our in the know fact of the day, Joe.
And that just proves that this is all unedited and just live
Just
streaming.
live.
Just
So
so
I
you
hope
know.
you guys enjoyed that. So, a little music
Little
spot
hiccup.
here. And just one click of a button and the wrong thing. That's what happens. So, so yeah, if you guys have something you also want to talk about too, we were talking about the penalties earlier this tonight too about this
terrible.
week and what was going on, and everybody's complaining about the Lions game, how they got screwed, hands to the face,
Yeah.
whether it's that or not. A lot of them the people talked about too is the 12 men on the field by the Lions got called, but then not the 13 people on the field with the.
I guess if he got more
Green
than
Bay
12, they let him
Packers.
go.
I guess so. Maybe they didn't notice. I mean, I don't
Here's
get an
the- I
offense.
mean-
It's easier to notice on defense or
Yeah,
what?
Here's the other thing too, is that after all these rule changes that we've seen, it seems like they're setting up these rule changes to fail, because out of all the challenges for pass interference and all and everything, there's not a very high success rate. It's like 4 or 7% of out of. There's been a crap ton, mind you. I don't know the specific number, but there's been so many, but they haven't been overturned, and some of them should have been overturned that just they weren't. So this is where you got to kind of question the referee association. I wonder if they're just trying to make a statement saying, hey, you guys got to quit changing all these rules. We're just going to keep throwing flags no matter what. We're going to keep them the same no matter what. We're humans too, and they try to make this whole thing. Yes, I get it. There is human error involved in sports. I get that. But when you have an opportunity to make a call right, and there's undisputable evidence right in front of you, and you still don't make it, that's what everybody's getting irate about. It's not that, okay, in a pile, there's a running back in a pile, and you can't see the football, so you don't know where to spot it. You know what I mean? Don't know if he made it in the goal line or whatnot, and that's understandable. But when it's out in the open and it's clearly pass interference or it's clearly a catch or a drop or whatever, and you get an opportunity to see it again in slow motion, make the right call. That's all anybody's asking for. Mm-hmm. And so far, it's just been a mountain of penalties, and it just seems like the referees have it just seems like it. It seems like they're just trying to make a point and just throwing flags no matter what.
Stop trying to question everything. That we
and
do.
trying to ruin the game.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that's everybody's argument with it. So
that's what you get for part-time refs. They're not full-time.
That's right. All right, let's move on to our next segment, Joe. It is the drop. Bringing you the latest headlines.
The Broncos have signed fullback Andy Janovich to a 3-year extension worth $5.7 million, a source said. He averages $1.9 million per year and gets a signing bonus of $1.35 million. Total guarantees of $3.22 million for the third highest paid fullback in the NFL.
Craziness.
Well worth it, though. The guy's a stud.
He is.
Giants' Kareem Martin surprises a coach with Down syndrome, and he gives him Super Bowl tickets for the season. So
that's cool.
That is a very cool story, and these players are doing all kinds of things throughout the season, and it's pretty amazing. Ravens quarterback Lamar Jackson became the first player in the Super Bowl era to throw for 200 yards and run. Yeah, we all know he runs. For 150 yards in the same game last Sunday per CBS.
Boom. Legendary.
There you go. I mean, the running part's not a surprise.
Yeah.
Maybe the 200 yards passing is. According to Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network, Texans cornerback Bradley Roby suffered what's considered a significant hamstring injury, which could keep him out for about a month. After releasing tight end Benjamin Watson last week, the New England Patriots changed their mind.
Yeah, they changed their mind.
Have re-signed the veteran, according to Field Yates of ESPN. So, it's like, Benjamin, no, you know what? Maybe you're not right for us. And then
imagine that he's like, sorry, we're gonna have to let you go.
We
don't need you.
Hey, Benji.
Hey, we need you.
Benji, how you been, buddy? By the way, we kind of need you back at tight end. We're hurting. Mm-hmm. Maybe they try to call Rob Gronkowski. And Rob
did you see him? I'm sorry to interrupt the drop and everything right now, but did you? Everybody who watched that, all right, was he on something?
Yeah, CBD oil.
Yeah, he must have been.
He's a sponsor.
He was, dude, like, just like this. Because I used to work at a nightclub. I know what drunk people are and people that are on something look like. When they try and talk to you and like stay straight sober when they're in front of a camera or talking to somebody, and then once they're like, "All right, Gronk, it's great to see you," it's like, "Oh yeah." Get right back into Gronk mode again, and you're like, "What the hell am I watching?"
Yeah, that's Gronk for you. You know what I mean?
He was on.
That could have been high Gronk that you saw.
Wow, yeah.
He is a sponsor for CBD.
That's tough, though, because I get that was his first gig there, though, for him with Fox, and to show up.
Oh, he was all
up.
giddy. He was all giddy.
Wow, man. I don't know.
And on top of that, he's comfortable now. Like, he retired. He's a sponsor for CBD oil. He's got a new job with Fox Sports.
I don't know if that was CBD oil, man.
He's loving life right now.
Yeah.
Now he's not getting hit all the time.
Yeah.
Seattle Seahawks tight end Will Disley has a torn ACL and will miss the remainder of the season, per Ian Rappaport of the NFL Network. Big loss to the Seattle offense here. A guy that a lot of people were very high on. He was making a big difference. Now they lose that weapon, but it's not a big loss because old man Luke Wilson will probably take over that starting role and return back to prominence. In Seattle.
He looked okay last week.
Rams placed cornerback Aqib Talib on IR with a rib injury. However, he is eligible to return this season, per Adam Schefter. It's just, do we have to wait the full 8 weeks for him to return? That's the question. Is like, when is he allowed to return? I think it's 6 to 8 weeks, but it could be just 8. Steelers defensive lineman Stephon Tuitt tears a pec and is done for the season. This is a big deal. Stephon Tuitt is one of those like nasty defensive linemen who just creates havoc in the backfield and pressure. They lose him. Next man up mentality in Pittsburgh.
Yeah, it's big.
Linebacker Connor Barwin announced his retirement from the NFL after a 10-year career. And wow, what a long career. Good thing for Connor Barwin. I think it was his time anyway.
Well, once you can't make the Giants roster, you know that it's just over. You can't make it anymore. You're like, they don't want me.
They were the last team that was interested.
I gotta go.
The Eagles have released veteran linebacker, and this is surprising, is Zach Brown has been released by the Philadelphia Eagles, and I'm kind of wondering why. I mean, he wasn't, it wasn't an injury settlement or anything, like he was injured, couldn't play anymore. It wasn't. I thought he was a good player for them. But now, if anybody needs a linebacker, we know the Giants have lost some guys.
Like to have him.
Maybe the Giants grab him. Maybe it's another team that needs it. Maybe the Rams. We talked about the Rams pulling off that trade for Kenny Young. Why not bring in Zach Brown, too? New York Jets guard Kalichi Osemele will undergo surgery to repair a shoulder injury, according to NFL Network's Ian Rappaport. The injury is undisclosed right now. We don't really know how much time he's going to be missing. They're just like, oh, he's going to miss some time. Well, that's good. Thanks a lot. Makes me look bad. I can't even report, how long he's been
I mean, for a line that hasn't looked very good, last week they did enough to win against the Cowboys, but to lose him down, too, on top of it, doesn't really bode well for them.
The Chicago Bears have placed D-tackle Akeem Hicks on IR due to a pec injury, per Adam Schefter. It's a big loss.
Yeah,
big time. And I know people are like, and especially Bears fans are like, yeah, it is a big loss, but we have all these other dudes. Yes, you do. And you're not going to miss in terms of production, you're still going to have a very tenacious defense. And they got some really great stout D tackles that were backing up Hicks. But still a big loss nonetheless.
Still, absolutely, yes.
According to Tom Pelissero of NFL Network, Bengals cornerback William Jackson will miss a few weeks with a shoulder injury, making that Bengals secondary even weaker. The New England Patriots suspended defensive end Michael Bennett for 1 week for conduct detrimental to the team. According to NFL Network's Ian Rappaport and Michael Girardi. What happened? Well, this is what happened. Michael Bennett simply, let's say, talked to his position coach, maybe said some things like, hey man, I need to get out there. He just wants to play. He hasn't been playing as much as he thought he was going to be for the New England Patriots. And there was not an altercation, but there was a disagreement with him going out there all the time and whatnot, and that's it. Guess what? You're suspended a week. He still gets paid though.
Yeah, what not? Yeah.
Cowboys defensive lineman Tyron Crawford to undergo season-ending surgery on a hip, ending his season with the Dallas Cowboys. I don't know. He didn't really help him out last week, so whatever.
Yep.
Rams have traded cornerback Marcus Peters to the Ravens. In return, the Rams have received linebacker Kenny Young in return, per Ian Rappaport. We said that multiple times this episode, and there it is once more. Also, Browns have traded center Austin Corbett to the LA Rams in exchange for an undisclosed draft pick.
Rams, making moves. I tell you, the last 2 years, they've been shuffling like crazy.
They do a lot. They've done a lot. New Orleans Saints cornerback P.J. Williams has been suspended for the team's next 2 games for violating the NFL's substance abuse policy. The
Winners don't use drugs.
The Tennessee Titans have named Ryan Tannehill their new starting quarterback for Week 7 against the L.A. Chargers. The team has announced. I think now the offense is just going to get better.
Yeah, I think so too. We've been asking for this for a long time.
And the Jacksonville Jaguars have traded 2-time Pro Bowl cornerback Jalen Ramsey to the LA Rams. The Jaguars will receive not 1, but 2 first-round draft picks, 1 in 2020 and 1 in 2021, also receiving a 2021 fourth-rounder, according to ESPN's Adam Schefter. A civil lawsuit on behalf of Diora Marzetti Sanders was filed against Oakland Raiders offensive tackle Trent Brown in a California court on Monday, alleging that he physically assaulted her on multiple occasions. Well, we all know how this goes. Usually, the domestic violence things end up being nothing. It's just looking for money. Here's the interesting part of this story real quick, is the multiple occasions have happened like once a month. So like it happened in March apparently, April, June, once a month. Like, So
I don't know. It's tough.
It's kind of
We'll see how
tough to
that goes when it plays.
We'll see how all the
yeah.
details unfold and everything. And Coach Doug Peterson just told reporters that offensive tackle Jason Peters will be week to week with his knee injury that he sustained. And there you have it, everybody.
Big thing there here, not to have him. I mean, it's crazy. That again, you
Which
want to talk
just
about
means-
with Tyron Smith, not having Tyron Smith, Jason Peters. is-
Now that we get a chance to see the rookie, Andre Dillard, he's going to end up taking the starting job at left tackle.
All right, Mike Tackett joined us here again, and he has a question for us, Joe. He says,
What do you got?
after looking at some early scouting reports, we're starting to
I like
see
it.
some potential top picks for
Yes,
the
sir.
upcoming NFL draft. Who do
Yes,
you
sir.
guys think will be the most productive player at the next level?
Hmm.
Tua, the DN Chase Young, wide receiver CeeDee Lamb, or someone else? And yes, I'm aware it's way too early for this discussion. Nice.
I don't have all my notes. I haven't
Yes.
even started scouting. Come on,
Yes.
Mike. Catching me
Definitely.
off guard. But anyway, we'll give it our best shot here. I do like Tua. I think he could develop into a very, very nice, very good quarterback in the NFL level. And this is where everyone's making a joke that the Dolphins are sucking for Tua, and I think that's a guy that they've been high on last year. So they are all in on Tua. I think that's the guy that they want to go with, even though they did pull off that trade for Josh Rosen. I still think they wanted to add to that position and move on from Ryan Fitzpatrick, and then just see what a battle between Tua and Josh Rosen possibly.
Yeah, possibly. Yeah. Load
so-
up, see what they have.
Other than that, Chase Young, good God, this guy is an absolute beast. He's also going to have a very good career, I foresee, in the NFL. There is a receiver. Now, I did some homework. He's out of Colorado. I can't quite remember off the top of my head what his name is, but a lot of scouts and a lot of teams are comparing him in terms of measurements. He's like a Julio Jones type player. He is a receiver, and he's very deadly. Look for his name to kind of rise to the top as we get closer to the draft. He's kind of like a sleeper right now, but if he keeps trending upward like he is right now, at the college ranks, watch out for his name when we get to the draft. He might end up being a mid to high first round draft pick.
All right, I'm just gonna.
And
go
that's
with
all
that.
I
So
could,
there you go.
and that's all I could do, Mike, without having my scouting notes. Thanks.
Yeah, that's
Put
true.
me on
And-
the spot,
and, I
man.
haven't scouted anybody yet, so I mean, I'm not big on the college football so much anymore. So yeah, I've been trying to get in there and watch
It's
it,
tough.
but I'm very tough and busy.
We
on,
live
on
busy
the weekend.
lives.
The weekends, it's tough for me to get in front of a TV and check it out. I can only check out scores if I get a chance. So yeah, there you go. Mike Tackett throwing that out there. It's always good to have his input and great questions.
Definitely.
I love the different questions
Always.
out there. So always keep them coming. If you haven't yet, follow us or hit the subscribe button on YouTube. You can also follow us on Twitter on FB_no too. If, everybody from Periscope who's watching, we appreciate it too. And get some more likes and follows there too. Tell your friends about us. Coworkers too. I found that a lot of my coworkers like football and stuff, and some I haven't talked to that often. I talk to it. I'm like, oh wow, all right, hey, check this out.
Yeah,
You might
definitely
want my
spread the
show,
word.
so-
If you can, it'd be great to help us out
Yeah.
on YouTube. Go ahead, hit the subscribe button just to help us out. And was it? Oh, we got Mike here. What did he say, Joe? You're thinking about Lavisla
Laviska
Chenault?
Chenault.
Yeah,
Junior,
that's
6'3",
him. That's him. Yep.
225 wide receiver.
Yeah,
Yep.
yeah. Thanks, Mike, for that. I mean,
There you go.
That
Boom.
dude, I think that dude's going to end up being nasty. But nonetheless, we still have scouting combines to go through, pro days to go through, leading up to the draft and the combine. So we're not quite there yet. We're still in the middle part of this regular season. So what do we got next?
All right, we're going to do our weekly picks now, Joe. Here we go.
Are we?
It's time for weekly picks. Hit us up with some music here. Let's get it going. Mike, you can join in on this too. Why not? Tell us what you think. Brandon went along with us last week on his picks with us, and he finished at 8-6. Joe was at 8-6 as well, tied with him, and I end up coming through and getting a 10-4 to get back in this competition here, Joe. Here I come, and now
You were already in the competition.
I still
You're
was.
only
It's-
down by
yes.
2 games.
I hate to be down by one game. So I came back in this one, and now I have taken the lead now. So it's a tight one here. I like this, Joe, because we're almost getting towards halfway. This would be great if it's a neck-and-neck race all
This
like
just
this
goes
week,
to
this
show
year.
you that me and Jim do our homework. That's all it's showing.
Yeah. Oh, I was checking up with the ESPN.
I'll tell you right now.
Guys again.
It's freaking hard to pick these
Oh,
things,
yeah.
even straight up. I can only imagine what picking with points.
Oh, with the spread.
Yeah, with the
Sometimes
spreads
I
and
think
everything.
spreads are easier because you can always
Yeah.
kind of bet against the spread and be a winner. You don't
It's
have to say if they win or lose.
Here's the
win
funny
or
thing.
lose is
When the Patriots
definite.
when the Patriots were going up against the Dolphins, their spread, I'm not joking.
Yeah.
It was a 22-point spread. All in favor of the Dolphins. A buddy of mine bet on the Dolphins, and they covered.
Yeah.
because
Isn't that
they're getting that
amazing?
many points.
Yeah.
It's insane.
Yeah. What's funny is a lot of people bet on the Giants last week because they didn't think that, the Patriots were going to put up 17. And for that game, right into the fourth quarter, it seemed like it was they're going to go like, oh, it's a payday.
Yeah.
And then 2 more scores, and then it go up by like 21 or 22 or something.
100%.
And it was done just like that, squashed. All your dreams. All right, so talk about dreams squash here. Let's go to our picks, Joe. All right, so I kept the lead on you at 1, but we'll see what happens this week. Get my nifty pen. I got a new pen because I keep breaking mine because I get tappy. All right, here we go. The Kansas City Chiefs tomorrow night here in Denver. Denver's on a hot streak. It's a divisional game, so it's going to be close. All right, everybody sit tight. This one's going to be a closer game than you would like, I think, Kansas City Chiefs fans. So be careful.
Yeah.
It is in Denver, so I give them an opportunity to get it going here. It looks like they are turning the corner here on offense a little bit. Everybody's getting a little more comfortable with Vic Fangio and stuff, and everybody's loving each other now here. But Kansas City, a 2-game slide, especially losing at home. To come back here against an opponent they know, it is going to be tough. They're going to have to grind it out here.
Yeah.
They have a few losses here, though, also, like you said, with the injuries. But I think I'm just going to barely slide to the Kansas City Chiefs side on this one. Although, just like with some of my picks here, if Denver wins, I think I might be happy still, even if I didn't pick them. That's the way I've been doing it this year. It's working out nicely.
Well, all I gotta say is I still don't trust the Broncos. Yes, they won a couple of games, and everyone's like, oh, well, maybe they are becoming the team that some people thought they were going to become.
Like this pick.
I don't know.
Dude.
Well done.
Yes.
But I think the Kansas City Chiefs are due for a win here. I mean, yes, it's going to be a tough game back and forth, but Kansas City, in the end, I think they'll be able to pick apart the Broncos team. They're going to get the ball out of Patrick Mahomes' hands really quickly. I think Travis Kelce's going to have a real big game. Tyreek Hill alike. Yeah, I'm just going to go with Kansas City going to Denver.
Here you go. Oh, this one doesn't really work either. This is
Another one.
See ya.
What about that one right there?
I don't know. I have another one over there. I have a lot of pens down here.
You got pens
I
everywhere.
go through a lot of them, and I don't even chew on them. All right, here, the LA Rams in Atlanta now.
Oh, boy.
Again,
Here we
this
go.
looks like it should have been a really marquee game of the week here. I think the NFL was
Where's
really
Kyle?
salivating about this one here. But the LA Rams here going to Atlanta. Both teams are on a skid. Atlanta, I didn't bother putting them on the sink or swim because I think they are just sinking completely. They are in trouble here. Joe said it. Dan Quinn has got to go.
Gotta go.
They really screwed up on not keeping Kyle Shanahan there when they could
Oh,
have.
my God.
And
That right there was a pivotal point in the Atlanta Falcons franchise.
Yeah. Yep.
Because if they keep Kyle Shanahan and don't go with the defensive guy and keep him there, I think this team is actually contending versus
pretending
sliding down.
right now, yeah, sliding with all the wasting the talent that they have. All right, here now the Rams here, they got an opportunity here. So they're reloading with some of their new toys. Are they going to be able to make a difference in the next couple of weeks? We'll see. But I think the Atlanta Falcons, they're just struggling. This is a great team for the Rams to play on defense here. So I'm liking the Rams to score big in Atlanta.
Yeah, I'm going to have to go with you as well. I'm going to pick the LA Rams because I just like the defense altogether better going against this Atlanta offense. And we've seen this Atlanta offense. It just keeps struggling every week. Now, this could blow up in both our faces, and Atlanta just somehow, comes out the gates and just takes a big lead and keeps it going. But their defense has failed them week in and week out. The Rams offense, this is kind of where they can get back on track here. I hope Todd Gurley can play for them, kind of get involved a little bit more. He was out last week, but all in all, the Rams are going to probably take this game.
All right, the Miami Dolphins, they decide they're going with Ryan Fitzpatrick again. Get a
Ryan
little Fitzmagic
Fitzmagic.
going. So, I mean,
And I think they got a game plan here. I think they're saying, hey, We'll let Ryan Fitz start the season, take him out a few weeks later, let him cool the jets, put him back in. He's like dynamite again.
Yeah, that's what you do. You got to hit the
Just keep
recharge with Ryan Fitzpatrick. Exactly. That's part of the magic.
Yeah.
All right, they're going to go into Buffalo again. Again, divisional game.
Yes.
It's going to be closer than you think.
Yes.
But Buffalo
Maybe.
at home, big. The fans are going to be excited. They have a week of rest here, so they're coming back fully, ready to go. I'm liking them to just destroy, not destroy them, but do a good showing here against this Miami team who's really struggling. I like Buffalo at home.
Yeah, and the Dolphins, I mean, there's nothing there. I mean, they are definitely in rebuild mode all the way. The Bills, one of the best defensive, if not the best this season. And with Josh Allen coming back, I think this offense is really going to start to click against his team. I really feel bad for Xavier Howard, who just signed a long-term deal with Miami, because it's going to be a long time until they're able to be competitive once again. I'm going with Buffalo.
All right, I got Mike's picks here, but I'll say them as we go through. He goes with Kansas City over Denver. He likes Buffalo over Miami. And did he get the Rams? He likes the where are they? Rams over Atlanta too as well. All right, here we go. All right, next we have Jacksonville against a winless Cincinnati. Cincinnati, for me, in the beginning, I didn't believe in them, but then I saw a little something that they might, where they sparked, and then they've let me down again horribly. So I'm selling completely everything that I might have that has the remnants of a tiger. Anything Bengals related, anything from Cincinnati is gone. Jacksonville, this is a good team to bounce back from, to get the Minshew mustache going again. Restock here. You don't have Jalen Ramsey there anymore, but you haven't had him for the past week, so you're got rough for a couple of weeks. You haven't, so you've gotten used to playing without him. I like Jacksonville in this matchup here.
Yeah, and I've picked the Bengals one time this season.
Yeah,
and they failed me.
I picked them one time too many.
I can't buy into this team. The offensive line is struggling now. Cordy Glenn didn't play last week. Even if he comes back this week, I still think this offense is too much of a weakness for them. A.J. Green is right around the corner to returning, but not quite there yet. And defensively, we already heard that William Jackson, one of their best corners, is going to be out. So I think that's another hit on them. The Jaguars, like Jimmy said, this is a perfect team. They should be able to run the ball on this team. And Gardner Minshew should be able to utilize play action and get the ball to DJ Chark and company, Chris Conley. I'm a little disappointed that, our one receiver for Jacksonville just doesn't get any playing time.
Yeah.
Right now. Keenan Cole. I mean, that poor guy.
I know.
He's like in the shadows right now.
Like I said, dude, I would love if they trade him to the Giants. Just give him to me or cut him and let me pick him up. I would love that.
Absolutely.
I mean, that would be great.
But all in all, I think the Jaguars' defense is still going to be a formidable defense for Cincinnati to go against. Jaguars against Cincinnati all the way.
All right. Next, we have the Minnesota Vikings against the Detroit Lions here at home. Mike likes Minnesota. Oh, by the way, he likes Jacksonville over Cincy. But he likes Minnesota over Detroit too as well. This is a tough one for me because
Detroit's kind of surprising
Detroit,
people. Yeah,
because I've been really lax on them. I know they are going to be tougher this year, but then I've been watching more of their games, seeing how they're flowing. They are able to get the ball out to the receivers a little bit this year, but what I've really noticed is that defense. He's really Matt Patricia is really getting it going and playing it the way the Patriots do. Tight man coverage. And I think that will give Minnesota some fits here in this game.
And they did get Darius Slay back last week, so that was, it made that defense even tougher to try to go against.
So with this one, Detroit, Minnesota has won the last two games. He's spread the ball out to his receivers like he's supposed to here.
Finally.
But this closer game in Detroit, I am going to go with Detroit Lions on this one, too.
Okay.
Upset the Vikings.
Yeah, I mean, this could really go either way. We've seen the Lions. They've kind of surprised some people. Now, look what they did in Green Bay. Against the Packers in Green Bay. For them to kind of – and I know they know each other very well. So it's always going to be kind of like a grind type of a game. But Detroit's kind of surprised me. They were able to put up points early against that Green Bay Packer defense and just couldn't in the end kind of sustain that lead. So they are going to be a tough out week in and week out. Minnesota Vikings, I like their defense. It's very physical. It's kind of like Detroit, but a tick better, I think. They got a little bit more weaponry on that side of the ball. And in terms of the Vikings offense, they got a lot of weapons. They got a heck of a lot. They got Kyle Rudolph. They got Irv Smith Jr., who they sprinkle into that offense as well. Stephon Diggs went off last week. I'm interested to see where does Darius Slay pair up against. Is he going to go up against Diggs and try to shut him out? That just means that Thielen's going to have a big day. If he goes against Thielen, it's going to mean the other thing. So, and Dalvin Cook, he's finally healthy. He's showing the league the reason why the Vikings took him with the first pick. And I'm going to go with the Minnesota Vikings to go into Detroit.
There you go, along with Mike. Mike goes Minnesota as well. We have the Oakland Raiders going into Green Bay and trying to pull out a win. Like you just said, Detroit went in there, just about had it. But, yeah, Green Bay is really on fire, and what surprised me is that one game, I think 2 weeks ago, they lost Devontae Adams in the game.
Right.
And it seemed like they couldn't get in the end zone after that. So then the next couple of weeks, they haven't had him. I was like, I'm not sure about this. How are they going to play? And they have shown up, They've got it going. And the one thing I noticed last week, though, is Aaron Jones didn't get it going in the running game as much here. Tried to get him in the passing game. He ended up missing that wide open touchdown pass.
Yeah.
But here, Oakland on a week of rest, coming back from England, I'm sure they enjoyed that little bit of a week off here.
Yeah,
time off from this long road trip that they have. But to go into the frozen tundra of Green Bay is going to be tough here. And
the one good thing I'll say about this game is that it's not late in the season, so they're not going into frozen tundra.
Yeah,
it's
true.
Into like
it's
mild,
be decent right now.
So that's the one good thing that the Raiders being a West Coast team to go into. It is kind of close to the East Coast, but still they're not going into when it's like dead of winter. Which is
I think the key for Green Bay to win this game, to come out here, is to stop Josh Jacobs. I don't know if that's physically possible, but that's going to be probably their game plan.
And we've seen the Packers struggle with the run defense. They showed up last week, but 2 weeks ago, when a lot of people thought that they were going to be able to be run on by the Cowboys, they stepped up and they put everybody in the box and made an effort to stop them. But going against the Raiders, this offensive line is pretty solid, and that's what kind of worries me if I'm a Green Bay Packer fan. Is not only are they very solid, but they push people around. And if one team has been able to run on the Packers, I think the Raiders will be able to run. I just don't know how successful they will be able to move this ball. When it comes in terms of passing the ball, Packers are one of the best pass defense teams in the league. So this will be interesting, and it also does depend on, too, and how healthy both teams are. The Green Bay Packers, they're without Marcus Valdez-Scantling, so they've got to rely on Geronimo Allison. And we still don't know if Devontae Adams is going to return this week or not. We still got to wait until the end of the week to get an accurate injury report. Maybe he'll be good to go. If he's good to go, then this Raiders defense is going to have a lot to deal with. And what I think that the Raiders do better on defense is play man-to-man. If they play zone, they're just going to get carved up by Aaron Rodgers all day long. And we've seen last week, the guy is amazing. He can make throws at all kinds of awkward angles, contorts his body, and still throws it right on the spot. But the Packers, I like their defense. I like their offense. To me, isn't as prolific, in years past. So that it might give the Raiders a little bit of a shot to kind of maybe shock everybody and win it in Green Bay. But this is a tough matchup either way you slice it.
All right, so I'm going to go with Green Bay still at home, too. I think we're going to see a lot of Jimmy Graham in this one. He's kind of been focusing more to him, even though Jimmy Graham has come up with some poor drops on occasion during here. But I think he's going to have to be his go-to at times here. But, yeah, I'm just going to stick with Green Bay at home. But I think Oakland puts it up running-wise on them. We'll get the running game going.
Yeah, this is going to be a tight game, I think. And the Packers, I think the Packers are one of those teams that nobody really talks about in terms of running the ball. They've been very good at running the ball as well. Aaron Jones Got to hold on to the ball.
Jamal Williams looked really good last week.
Yeah, and he's a change of pace back and everything. And I know a lot of people are saying, oh, well, Jamal Williams is going to take over the starting job. And I don't think so. Aaron Jones is that back, that physical back with speed that they really love utilizing. Aaron Jones has just got to focus. He had a wide open touchdown catch, and he just
Fumbled
dropped
last week
by
too.
himself.
Yeah,
dropped
by himself. Yeah,
so
right there.
I think Aaron Jones is got a little chip on his shoulder right now. I think he's going to show it against Oakland in Green Bay. I don't care who you are. Green Bay's tough to beat. I am as well going with the Packers.
All right, Houston at Indianapolis. Again, I think this is going to be a nice, good matchup here. And Mike Tackett has Indy over Houston here. See, Indy at home, so that goes to show you what type of game it's going to be. Mike Tackett trusts in the Colts and what they've been doing, and they've been competing with a lot of tougher teams. Everybody wrote them off. Once Andrew Luck says, I'm hanging it up, a lot of people were like, well, they're done. Colts fans like, oh, we're out of here, And again, we have stuck by him and said, Jacoby Brissett is good enough to run this offense.
Definitely.
And Frank Reich, was thrown into a bad position here, being a coordinator hired by Josh McDaniels, and then to say Josh McDaniels then isn't coming. Now you've got the job to be able to come in here within like 2 years now and get it going and be
it's a pleasant
vying
surprise
for this division here. I mean, and this is who they've got to beat. We're talking about interdivisional matchups. They need to fight here against the Houston Texans, Joe.
Yeah, Frank Reich, this is a blessing in disguise for Indy. They didn't plan on him being the head coach, and when he came in, he's a great offensive mind. Has plenty of experience as a quarterback in this league before he retired, and it's showing on the X's and O's. This offense is well run by him. He's a good decision maker, good game manager, and the players that he has now. Here's the interesting thing: is will the Colts have Marlon Mack this week?
That's a good question.
He was injured last week, didn't play. Now I wonder if given that extra time to heal, is he going to be able to come back and perform well for them? Because if he comes back, that's a big-time weapon that they get back. And also Darius Leonard. He's another linebacker, all-pro linebacker. Last week he wasn't playing. Does he come back this week? Is he healthy enough to come back this week? So there's some variables in picking this game. I do love Indy at home, but I also love the Houston Texans and what they've been able to do. They went into Kansas City last week. They outperformed offensively the Kansas City Chiefs and put a lot of pressure on them. Mm-hmm. Now they're coming into Indy on a big win like that. That's very emotional, so a lot of teams didn't give Texans credit. Jimmy gave him credit to go in Kansas City and win, and they edged it out in the end. They did a phenomenal job.
It could have went either way in that game. We know it.
Now, this is another tough game, though. They don't get an easy game the following game. Now they have to face a divisional rival in the Indianapolis Colts. This is tough to pick for me, but I don't like the Texans secondary, and I think that's going to be a big weakness for them. Along, you look also is you look at Jack Doyle and Erica Braun that have slowly started to get more involved in this team because of injuries to the receiving corps. I like the Colts at home, to be honest. They're going to have the crowd. They got that stout offensive line to contend with that rush that the Texans are going to try to provide. I'm going to go with the Colts in this one.
Mm-hmm. And I'm going to agree with you as well, too, and go with the Colts, too. Because especially, too, Houston, I had a lot of question marks going through into the season with them and where they're going to lie in here. And, again, this is going to be a tough divisional game. They are going to be at home. If Indy's going to win, they need to take it here to Houston. And I picked Indianapolis to take the division despite even not having Andrew Luck. So I'm going to ride with this one and go with what I had said before and see what happens, in this tough matchup here. All right, so Arizona now against the New York Giants here. Arizona has come alive a little bit. We've seen them, the offense going. The defense still is struggling, but the offense, Kyler Murray getting it going here.
Lighting it up.
Yeah, lighting it up. Yeah, now they go against a Giants defense here to where you can beat them over the top in some of these corners, but together, like you said, as a whole, they have been playing better together. They are thinking about moving Jackrabbit possibly. We've thrown it out there, that there's trade rumors. They might be able to move him and stuff and stick with some of these younger guys, and who knows what they could get for Jackrabbit if they did throw him out there. No, because, again, he's older and he's on the way down. But the Giants at home against Arizona. This is going to be a tough matchup, but if this is a game they need to win here, the Giants, I think this is it. I think I'm going to go with the Giants here instead of Arizona.
Yeah, and the one thing you got to look at, too, in this game is we're picking on Wednesday. We don't get the injury report until Friday
Yeah,
or
because I'm
Saturday.
thinking Saquon is going to be back with.
Yeah, I think Barkley's going to be back.
but
And here's
who
the
knows?
other thing. To add a little bit more to that, they do have Golden Tate now.
Mm-hmm.
A big ad for the Giants this past offseason. I think now that OBJ is no longer there. Does Sterling Shepard come back? Does Evan Ingram come back?
Mm-hmm.
Because I think not only with Barkley there, but if you add an extra weapon or two, like if they get Evan Ingram, I think they're easily going to be able to take care of the Cardinals. But just having Barkley there, I have a lot more confidence in the Giants team that has been together for the last couple of years. And Daniel Jones, his mobility alone is going to command some respect for this Arizona Cardinals pass rush. So, and I do like the ascension of the Cardinals offense. You know, Kyler Murray's been kind of coming into his own slowly but surely, and week to week it looks like this offense is getting better and better. But in the end, I think, Arizona, long travel to New York, I think that might affect them a little bit. And the Giants, if they get a couple of guys healthy, Barkley most likely is going to be there. If they can get Evan Ingram too, Giants, I think, are going to win this game.
There we go. All right, and now San Francisco at Washington. Mike has San Francisco over Washington, and I'm going to go with San Francisco as well. Again, they've been playing very well to get that running game going. This is a good team, again, to try and test that the wide receivers out, get that fixed out for them so they can work themselves through the rest of the season and make a nice playoff berth for them. And Washington, just they faced the right team they needed to last week, and they almost lost.
They got the win, though.
I don't think they're going to take it to San Francisco. I'm going with San Francisco.
Is this even a pick? I mean,
I
is
don't
this
know.
even a pick?
It's
Like,
a
does
bye week
anybody
for
give
San Francisco, you think?
does anybody give the Redskins a chance to win this game?
I don't know.
Because I think
Maybe.
it's hard pressed to go the other way. Niners all the way. I mean, we've seen the Niners defense dominate teams for the several weeks that they have, and this offense, even though they've kind of spit and sputtered from time to time, I think they're going to be too much for the Redskins.
And the Chargers, I'm just going against the Tennessee Titans. I'm at dismay here. I just don't know what to do here with this one.
This is tough.
Mike is going Tennessee over the Chargers. I mean, and that's easy to go that way because the way they've been playing, they've been playing underwhelmingly. They have had injuries, but
These are both teams coming off losses.
And it stinks because with Tennessee again, they've got Derrick Henry there, which is a nice piece. They're just not
Why
able
aren't they
to
running him
to
more?
get him. I don't know, but and I just fear the unknown here. With Ryan Tannehill coming in here
Okay.
finally and being the starter,
Yeah.
I mean, I think he's better and can get the offense going better
Yeah.
than what Marcus Mariota did.
Right.
But I don't know. I think I still am believing a little bit in the Chargers
Right.
here. If, again, this is a game they could win, this is the team to do it against, I think. So I think I'm going to go Los Angeles Chargers here. Risk of sounding like an idiot.
Lock it up.
Yes. Let's
But
see.
here's the thing, and
this is it, or I'm jumping ship.
With the Chargers, I think they're just too hurt right now. We seen they got a battered offensive line. Derwin James still isn't there yet. Melvin Ingram, that's another big loss. He's still not there yet. I think now. Plus, you're going away. Oh wait a second. No, they're always away.
Yeah,
we
they're
seen
always
the
away.
Steeler game,
Ooh,
and
yeah.
it was,
That was
full of Steeler fans. There was like maybe 5 or 6 Charger fans there.
They were getting defense chanted
Yes.
against them when
yellow
they were on
towels were
offense.
everywhere.
That's how sad that was.
It's so bad. I feel bad for them. And no, I don't. So we've got the Titans game here. This is both teams are licking their chops for this week. They both came off losses. I think the Titans got a little embarrassed last week against Denver. I thought they could have done a little bit better. Mariota struggled mightily. And even though Ryan Tannehill is kind of a little bit unknown in this offense, he's had plenty of time to learn the offense and grow into the offense. I think he's going to know it like the back of his hand, like he did in Miami. He knew that offense. I think Ryan Tannehill is going to be a pleasant surprise for Tennessee. And I think at home, which is a perfect place to start, I think Ryan Tannehill is going to lead the Titans to a win.
There you go. New Orleans Saints at the Chicago Bears here. This is going to be another tough matchup here.
Oh,
The
my
Saints
God.
have been digging games out
Yes.
With Teddy Bridgewater in this, he's shown now this is why they got to pay him that much, and he is the highest paid backup here because to win the games, that's your job as a backup quarterback. Win the games while your starter's out, and I think Drew Brees feels a little more comfortable back there. He's like, all right, well, I can get my thumb nice and healthy, make sure
He's
I'm
already
good.
throwing the ball.
He's throwing the ball now, yes, and so he's just taking his time, getting it all straightened out. Teddy Bridgewater's been running the ship pretty well. You got to give it to Sean Payton. He's been getting it going.
Yeah.
And the Bears, they've been dealing with injuries now and not looking like the team offensively that we've even potentially seen last season to
Right.
gave Matt Nagy Coach of the Year.
Right.
And there's just a lot of miscues this season.
Yes.
So, again, I've been begging for it all the time. Get the running game going. I want to see more Tariq Cohen. Mix it up. But are we going to see Mitch Trubisky this week? Is he full clear to go?
Yeah, he's looking like he's going to be the starter
So
right now.
that could be a little bit of a difference. But without Akeem Hicks, this is going to be a tougher game for me to go with, Joe. So what do you think?
I don't think without Akeem Hicks it's going to be tough at all for this defense. You got to check out this kid, this young kid. I can't remember. He's got a hyphenated name. I know that much. But he's a D tackle for the Bears. He's the backup for Hicks. He's going to create some, big problems for the O-line of the Saints. So I don't think they're going to lose a lot in terms of pressure. You got to look at this whole team now. You got Khalil Mack to deal with. You got, a lot of different faces of Leonard Floyd, Roquan Smith. The list goes on and on. Eddie Jackson in the back end. It doesn't get any easier. So they still have a very, very tough, one of the best defenses to contend against. But in my eyes, even with the return of Trubisky, I didn't like how the offense was being ran with Trubisky and how he wasn't being as efficient as people would like him to be. I do like the Saints. I don't like their offense right now because I think even with Teddy Bridgewater, I think this offense takes a huge step back. And until Drew Brees gets there, I think this offense will never be the same. But I do love the Saints' defense. So I think both these teams have great defenses. And I think the Saints' offense is just a little bit more well-run right now. So I'm going to go with New Orleans going into Chicago and getting the win.
And I think you're thinking of Roy Robertson Harris is the D tackle here for the hyphenated name for the Chicago
Yes, sir.
Bears.
Yes, sir.
What does Mike go with here? New Orleans over Chicago too as well. So he goes with New Orleans. This is tough for me because I really believe they can get
It's
it done in
tough
Chicago.
because Chicago's home, and they do play really good at home. And who knows, maybe Matt Nagy throws some new wrinkles in this offense to help Trubisky. Because here's the thing, bottom line, he's going to have to get rid of the ball quickly because I don't think he's going to have a lot of time to just sit back there. This offensive line has been battered a little bit, so I look for the Saints to really put a lot of pressure.
I think I'm going to go Saints either way. Just because
I convinced you.
I like the well, yeah, because too I'm thinking they have Alvin Kamara to dish it to if they get pressure. They have Mike Thomas there, so Jared Cook, so many other weapons to dish it to. Yeah, if Mitch Trubisky gets rushed a little bit
Jared
by
Cook
that
finally
defense,
caught a touchdown pass.
yeah.
First time all year.
Right? So, I think I'm just looking at personnel again, and like you said, that the defense is playing well. All right, the Baltimore Ravens at the Seattle Seahawks. Seattle has been playing good, even despite Russell Wilson losing hearing in his helmet, calling the plays out and getting the win in that game.
Yeah, the
I was watching that
communication,
game closely.
the comms broke down and were shut off. So through the third quarter, for pretty much through the third quarter, most of it anyways, he had to call his own plays. There was no communication between the sideline and him. He just had to go. And look how well he's able to command that offense. He knows everybody like the back of his hand. What an amazing player. He is having a tremendous year, Russell Wilson is.
I don't see, where does he have Baltimore here? Do you see it on there, Joe?
He's got Baltimore over Seattle.
Baltimore over Seattle. Okay, Mike has Baltimore over Seattle. Baltimore I'm up and down on. Again, it's just tough for me because early on in the season they didn't play a lot of tough teams to where they were putting up the points. But yes, some of the stats are undeniable here with Lamar Jackson, what he's able to do on the ground and then throwing it as well. But also Russell Wilson hasn't thrown an interception yet this year. He is
Don't
playing
jinx him.
lights out. I
You-
might have
you
just
might have
done
just
it.
jinxed him.
And I really like Chris Carson. He's slender now. He's just shedded a little bit of weight. He's got some nice agility to him.
He just
now.
gotta
Not
stop
so much
fumbling.
of a pounder. Yeah, no, I hear you there. But yeah, so Baltimore making moves to try and get Marcus Peters involved in this in their team now. Seattle at home. I'm just gonna again pick Seattle at home. I like Seattle.
Yeah, this is going to be a fun game to watch because we're going to get to see a Seattle defense that's been a pleasant surprise through trades with getting Jadeveon Clowney, and company, and who else did they get? They also have Ezekiel Ansah.
Yeah.
And this team overall, they got a lot of young talent. You look at Douglas McDougall in the back end at safety, Shaq Griffin, Shaquille Griffin. So I think this defense is going to be able to give a little bit of trouble to this Ravens offense that's had so much success. You look at Lamar Jackson. What's their game plan? What do they love to do? And I know Lamar Jackson says, "Oh, it's a joke. Everyone thinks I'm a running back, but no, I play quarterback." Dude, you ran for 150 yards last week. Everybody still thinks you're a running back because you are. You just make the easy passes, the short to intermediate passes, and I think that's where it plays into Seattle's hands. I think they're going to be a very stout against the run. They're not going to let Mark Ingram run the ball, and they're going to not rush, but they're going to try to keep Lamar Jackson in the pocket and create pressure, but not try to give up running lanes up to him. And if they can do that successfully, I think it's just going to be balls to the wall for Seattle. They're going to kind of take over this team. The one nick into the plans could be Marcus Peters now. Now in Baltimore, teaming up with Marlon Humphrey. That creates this secondary looks pretty nasty right now with Tony Jefferson in the back. And guess what? Revenge game. For the ex-Seattle safety. I just forgot his name.
Earl Thomas?
Earl Thomas, there
Yeah.
you go. So it's going to be an interesting game to say the least, but Seattle's very tough at home, and I have to give it to Seattle. Even though they're going to be without Will Disley, I think they're still going to be able to manage Tyler Lockett. DK Metcalf is going to be a very tough mismatch for either Marcus Peters or Marlon Humphrey because of his physicality. But yeah, I'm going to go with Seattle in the end.
All right, here, Mike Tackett says, I was on the fence with the Baltimore and Seattle game. My biggest concern is Jadeveon Clowney taking charge on defense for Seattle. He's been able to apply some pressure, but it hasn't been
He
really
is not
what
the
he
first
was
overall
supposed to
pick
be.
worthy.
Yeah,
Let's just say
exactly.
that. To me, Jadeveon Clowney is specifically just a pass rusher, and he's not even a great pass rusher. So he's one-dimensional, and if you run at him, he can't set the edge. So, that's his big weakness.
Mm-hmm. All right, that brings us up to Sunday Night Football, Joe. All right, we've got the Philadelphia Eagles facing off against the Dallas Cowboys. Seems like Dallas is always home. You notice that? It seems like they're always home, almost like the Patriots. I don't get that. I'll have to
Always,
check out their
bro.
schedule.
Always. That's what
I
it
don't
feels
get
like.
Yeah, and it's always Saturday or Sunday night. All right, but you got the Philadelphia Eagles and the Dallas Cowboys. Tough divisional game. Again, both are tied here at first. I think Philly barely has the edge. This is the game that the Cowboys have to go for and win here. Philly has been playing a lot of teams tough, though.
Yes.
So I'm on the fence here. For me, it's if Tyron Smith plays, but I don't know if he's going to
No.
or not. So, and then look at the next injury, Leighton Vander Esch. Is he going to be in the game? Because he hasn't been for the past couple weeks, and that's been a key, I think, on defense. So if he's in the game, I think Dallas has a better opportunity, a better chance, because he's
Right.
all over the ball.
Absolutely.
And they're going to just basically pin their ears back and try and stop Carson Wentz here, because I don't think they fear Philly's running game at all here. So I'm going to stick with Dallas to bounce back here and get a win at home against Philadelphia.
Yeah, the biggest thing for this game is, yes, it is a rivalry game through and through. These teams know each other so well. The deciding factor is really simple. Can the Eagles' defense stop Ezekiel Elliott? Can they at least slow him down and put more pressure on Dak Prescott? We still don't know as of yet. Will Amari Cooper be healthy? That's a big weapon that they could definitely could need against the Eagles' secondary, which isn't that great. We've seen the Eagles secondary get beat week in and week out, but the pressure that they create up front is tremendous. So like Jim mentioned, will Tyron Smith be back? Will their offensive line be healthy enough to sustain this pass rush and open up holes for Ezekiel Elliott? The Eagles are kind of a little bit on a roll, though. This offense, even though they don't have a completely healthy receiving core, they've been able to make do with the tight ends, with Alshon Jeffrey. And Miles Sanders has definitely taken charge of this backfield. Not only is he a threat in between the tackles with his shiftiness and his speed, but also his receiving out of the backfield has been tremendous. So we saw his breakout game last week. This week he's going to be another tough weapon to contend with, but I think the Eagles have generated enough momentum. I think the Eagles will be able to go into Dallas and take it away from Dallas.
All right, here, and Mike Tackett has Dallas over Philadelphia. Now, then moving into Monday Night Football, it is the New England Patriots at the New York Jets. Patriots, again, making it through some of these injuries that they have, and to where they even need to bring Benjamin Watson back. And, struggling, still, thank God that they still have Julian Edelman back there, too, because, again, he seems to be their nice inlet or outlet to get to get out of it. And James White, we've seen a little bit of him, too, making moves, too, to get things going here. So going to the Jets. They're high off that win against the Dallas Cowboys. They are playing at home, but they don't have Kelechi Osemele, too. I mean, that's another thing against them. I think their defense is going to play tight against this New England offense. This is going to be a closer game again. I think that people have expected here with this 6-0, New England Patriots team. They are going to give them a chance here, but Bill Belichick is going to love trying to disguise things with Sam Darnold back there, and he is going to just attack the run, pin it all against Sam Darnold. It's going to be tough. We'll see what Sam Darnold's made of here. Can he get the ball to Robbie Anderson and others, and Crowder fit inside those holes? Can he get it going here? And the Jets need to play man coverage.
Yeah,
so
they have to play
the bottom line here.
And they can. They have the player personnel to be able to play man-to-man and give some fits to the Patriots offense. We've already seen Buffalo and how they did it. Listen, man-to-man, if you got the talent to do it, you can give Tom Brady some fits and maybe even some missed throws. We've seen it in the past. That Tom Brady is not as accurate as people make him out to be, especially this stage in his career. We've seen some miscues with throws. We've seen receivers drop the ball. You look at Julian Edelman last week. He had a couple of drops. And that dude never drops the ball. So
he was also complaining he was getting held and everything else afterwards.
Okay, but you also push off Julian. I mean, let's be real. Well, you want to call, So the Jets, they're coming in with a healthier defense. I think they're gonna be able to get in the face of Tom Brady. We saw how much pressure the Jets put on last week, and they were in the face. Almost every down, they were putting a lot of pressure. So I expect the Jets to really contest this Patriots team and keep it kind of low scoring. I don't think it's going to be a huge blowout. But the biggest turn in this game is going to have to rely on the Jets offense. If they can keep Tom Brady and company off to the sideline on long sustaining drives, Sam Darnold's I will say this, the Patriots defense is going to put a lot of pressure on Sam Darnold. So they're going to have to, Adam Gase is going to have to develop a good game plan to get the ball out of his hands very quickly. I look for Jamison Crowder to have a really big game because he's more of that slot guy that runs shorter routes. And Robbie Anderson, utilize the whole route tree with this guy. Please do not try to just throw him deep all the time. If the Jets can get the ball out of their hands successfully, even if it's to get 4 yards, the Jets have a real shot in contending and possibly pulling off a shocker. But I'm not a lunatic. I do know that the Patriots are winners for a reason. Bill Belichick, he's going to take away their biggest weapon. What's their biggest weapon? Le'Veon Bell. So I think he's going to take Bell away and put all the pressure on Sam Darnold. Now, will he be able to handle it? We will see. but I have to go with the Patriots.
Yeah, I'm going to agree with you there with the Patriots, and the way Stephon Gilmore is playing is pretty lights out too, so that's pretty fearful there. Mike Tackett says the entire Jets team gets mono and lose 40-14. Oh,
Nice.
Man. There's Mike Tackett delivering. He goes with the Patriots too as well.
He goes with a landslide,
Yes, yeah. So there you go.
40 to
Yeah,
14.
Yeah, and I don't think everybody's going to get mono there. So there you go. That's our picks right there for this week, week 7. Right here, this is our standings right now, the way it is. But next week, it'll be probably flip-flop, totally opposite. We picked a lot of different ones this week, but we'll see. This is a
got
tough
some
week.
news,
There's a lot of
everybody.
ups and downs. Oh, breaking news. What do we got?
Breaking news, the Raiders have extended on a 3-year deal Darren Waller, their starting tight end, who's kind of really come into his own this season. And in fantasy, he's like number 1, number 2, in terms of fantasy, so he's doing a great job, and he's earned himself a contract extension. So
there you go.
Good job, Darren.
And take care of it early. Good job by the Raiders to do that.
Mr. Mike Mayock.
Mike Mayock. All right, well, that's it. That's our show for this week. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Make sure you go to YouTube and hit the subscribe button, too. We are streaming on YouTube as well, and we post funny skits there, too, as well. And on
Spread the
Twitter,
word.
FB_no. On Twitter, on Facebook, if you're watching Facebook Live right now, if you're watching through my feed, that's cool. But it also become a group member of the Football on the No show. So we can also talk different news, updates, and just football in general. Let's chat. You don't just have to watch our show. You can communicate with us throughout
That's
the week.
true.
We're constantly throwing stuff out
And that's
there.
what this show is all about. We're all about interaction, everybody. I mean, I know some of you just enjoy watching our content and listening to what we have to say, but we welcome everybody. Go ahead and pop in. Don't be shy.
Yeah,
Comment.
we're a family.
Let us know what your thoughts are. If you even have a question about your team or another team, or even a scenario that's about to come up, maybe the trade deadline's right around the corner. You got any ideas? Maybe who's on the move or whatnot? And we're all about a family here, a football family. So go ahead and join us over on YouTube. Hit the subscribe button, spread the word, and help us grow.
I think here, this is funny right here. Mike Tackett delivers here. I just talked about this today. All right, I think he means to say Kyle Allen, but is Kyle Allen keeps playing hot. Do you guys see Cam Newton not being re-signed? And then he says, I think he would excel in Tampa. I said this to somebody. It's like, how exciting would that be
and that's
if
the
he
thing,
goes down
right.
to Tampa?
And that's the thing,
somewhere
too,
else?
is the bye week is coming up for Carolina. And this would be a great opportunity, I think, to move on from Cam Newton. Because, quite honestly, Kyle Allen has made this offense run better than Cam Newton ever could.
Yeah.
Cam Newton is a gimmick type of quarterback. He's a great athlete, can run the ball very well. He's physical. He's got a strong arm, but he needs either a big receiver to throw to with a big catching radius, or he needs a guy to be wide open in order for him to make the play. So I think that this is a perfect time for the Carolina Panthers to move on from Cam and realize that Kyle Allen has done not just, an adequate job, but he's actually made this offense better because he's a better passer of the football at the quarterback position. So if I'm Carolina and I'm Ron Rivera, I start reaching out to teams. Would you possibly be interested in Cam? And Tampa Bay would be a good fit. I think with Bruce Arians there, I think you could use a guy like Cam Newton because, to be honest, Cam Newton is definitely better than Jameis Winston. As much as I don't like Cam Newton, and I think he's just he's a system type of quarterback, and if you don't create an offense to fit him, he's just not successful. So we've seen this offense in Carolina evolve, and now with Kyle Allen as the quarterback, this team is kind of really taking another big step forward in terms of putting points on the board. So if I'm Carolina, I don't think it's a hard decision to make. I think you just pull the trigger and try to get a trade.
Go for it. I know, why not? I thought that was very intriguing when we were talking about it today. I thought that would be a great idea for them too as well. So it's glad to see that Mike Tackett's on board with that one. That's pretty cool, and we'll see what happens going forward. Because one thing that Carolina just needs to realize here, or maybe they are now, is that you can't have Cam Newton be the focal point of your offense like they've been trying to do. You got to have Christian McCaffrey be your focal point and have really great defense and just have your quarterback control the game, make the right throws, and he has a more accurate deep ball. than Cam Newton does. Right. So I mean, that's what all that matters here to help win a game, and they're doing it well without Cam Newton. So why not spare yourself all the stuff that goes along with Cam Newton and move him along while you can get some kind of value.
I think there would be at least 10 teams interested in Cam Newton, and I just think it makes perfect sense. I mean, I think the Carolina Panthers have enough game tape. They have enough reasoning to move on from Cam. You know, and yeah, it's at the expense of his injury that led him to this, crossing the roads with Kyle Allen. But I think it's a wise decision. I think that it is time to move on from Cam, and let's see if he can improve another team.
All right. That's it for our show this week. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Like I said, subscribe to us on YouTube, Football on the No Show, FB_No on Twitter, Facebook, Football on the No Show group, and that's it. We'll see you guys next week.
Join us next week from 8 till 10 Wednesday night for more Football on the No with Jim and Joe.